Chapter 1447. In less than 3 days, Lin Shun had perfectly mastered the power of the divine dragon bloodline. Lin Shun sat cross-legged beside the waterfall. One of my illusionary doppelgangers is comparable to a pinnacle star realm cultivator at most. With my main body and 6 doppelgangers working together, I can fight an early-stage Sacred Heart realm cultivator. If I use the slow rune for a sneak attack, it's already my limit to deal with mid-stage Sacred Heart realm cultivators. As for late-stage and pinnacle Sacred Heart realm cultivators, I can only use the Ares set or use my doppelgangers to try and kill them together, Lin Shun pondered. After entering the battlefield of the 9 tribes, the biggest change to his main body was the improvement of his flesh shell. The improvement of his flesh shell's pure power would also increase the lower and upper limits of Lin Shun's Ares set. For example, Lin Shun, who had 1 trillion dragon power points, would need to charge more than 1% to use the maximum power of a single Ares set once. And for Lin Shun, who had 28 trillion dragon power points, using the maximum power of a single Ares set would only require 0.5% or less. Moreover, the speed of increasing his power would also increase. By the way, Senior Ancient Dragon, what's that direction? At this moment, Lin Shun finally pointed in the direction of the attribute light ball. Ever since he entered this plane, the reddish-gold attribute light had filled the entire plane. The golden-haired little girl was surprised. You're really surprising me more and more. You can even find this. That's a part of my dragon body. I've already hidden it well. Logically speaking, even the dragon tribe's holy king shouldn't be able to find it. How did you find it? Lin Shun said in a serious tone. Maybe it's because I'm more handsome. The golden-haired little girl laughed. The beautiful woman laughed until her body trembled. She held her stomach and laughed for a long time. Her delicate hand grabbed Lin Shun, and her lotus feet stepped into the air. The stars moved. When Lin Shun steadied himself again, he had arrived at a star field filled with dazzling stars. It was vast and boundless, as if countless planets were connected into one. Why is it so dark? Before Lin Shun could finish speaking, his mouth opened slightly. The pure gold dragon horn was like jade, translucent and dazzling. The dragon's eyes were tightly shut, and a divine dragon head as large as a galaxy floated in this star field. Lin Shun was shocked speechless. Is this the true form of the ancient Taishi dragon? And it was just a dragon head? If his main body was still intact, a single swipe of his claws would probably tear apart more than half of the sacred boundary. During the War of the 9 Races, my body was shattered into pieces. A part of it was even sucked into that damned whirlpool. How terrifying. The little blonde girl shook her head and laughed. She patted Lin Shun's shoulder and smiled sweetly. Little guy, what are you doing here? Don't tell me it's just for the sake of worshipping me. There's definitely worship. Lin Shun grinned and leaped into the air. It seemed like a short distance, but it took him almost 15 minutes to reach the ancient Taishi dragon's head. The pure gold elemental light was emitted from the dragon head. Lin Shun placed his palm on the dazzling dragon horn, and the elemental light was absorbed. Congratulations, host, for obtaining the divine dragon bloodline special ability. You have awakened the ancient Taishi dragon bloodline special ability, Taishi Divine Light. Marshal Lin's mouth opened wide. The divine abilities of the dragon race were divided into normal, outstanding, superior, pinnacle, perfect, transcendent, and peerless. There were no records of peerless divine abilities below the primordial dragon race. There were only a few historical records of the primordial dragon race. Of course, they were only records and not cultivation methods. No one knew how many dragons were left that could cultivate and pass down their legacies. In terms of human cultivation techniques, peerless divine abilities were at least comparable to orange-grade advanced battle techniques, or even stronger. Without a doubt, this peerless divine ability would become Lin Shun's strongest trump card at this stage. The divine dragon bloodline is indeed perverted. Just as Lin Shun was exclaiming, a shadow in the Providence plant pouch suddenly exploded. Boom! A sense of danger surged into Lin Chen's heart, and his battle intent instantly exploded. Little Shadow is in danger. Lin Chen's expression was especially serious. The shadow in the Providence plant pouch was a mark left behind by Little Shadow. Once the mark broke, it meant that this little guy's life was in danger. The golden-haired girl frowned. "Little guy, what's wrong?" Lin Chen looked out into the starry sky and said seriously, "Senior, my friend is in danger. I have to leave first." "Oh, something in the outside world?" The golden-haired girl's palm faced Lin Chen and smiled. "Then go, I'll send you away." She waved her palm, and Lin Chen turned into a spatial beam. When he reappeared, he was back in the middle of the 3 Dragon Mountains. "Thank you, Senior." Lin Chen shouted into the Dragon Mountains and rushed out. Outside the 3 Dragon Mountains, Little Shadow enveloped the 3 of them and retreated all the way, teleporting tens of thousands of miles away at lightning speed. Boom! The earth shook, and 4 figures floated in the air. "Ha ha ha! Shangguan Shun, Feng Shui, you 2 traitors of the Divine Flame Palace. How dare you work with Lin Chen? I'll destroy you today. Today, with the patriarchs will hear, I'll see where you traitors can run to. I'll kill you traitors first, and then I'll find Lin Chen to avenge Big Brother Shangguan Ci." These 4 people were the prodigies of the Divine Flame Palace. The leader was the young man in blood-red clothes, Shui Haiyang, and he was the main force in the battlefield of the 9 races this time. At this moment, his eyes were red, and his veins were bulging. A red-haired elder's shadow floated behind him. With a casual grab, a large area of space distorted, and his saint power tore thousands of miles of mountains and rivers. Among the 3 people hiding in the 2 mountain valleys, Shangguan Shun had a serious expression. "Oh no, these guys really awakened the patriarchs while that fell in the battlefield of the 9 races." Feng Shui said unwillingly, "Senior brother, why don't we charge out and fight them?" Shangguan Shun shook his head. "We won't be a match for them. Just the strength of the 4 of them alone is not weaker than us, not to mention now that they have the help of the patriarch's will." Feng Shui was anxious. "Isn't it just a wisp of will? Senior brother, what are you afraid of?" "I'm not afraid. If it were Big Brother Lin Chen, he would have killed them long ago." Shangguan Shun rolled his eyes, which was rare. This junior sister was really led astray by Lin Chen. "She's going to do it just like that?" Shangguan Shun knocked her head and scolded sternly, "Don't mess around. No matter how thin the patriarch's will is, it's enough to suppress countless saint hearts. If you don't have the combat strength of the heaven-opening realm, you're courting death." He then looked at Xn. "Miss Xn, this is an internal matter of our sect. You and this Brother Shadow should retreat first. We'll think of a way." Xn shook her head. "What can you do? I'm not someone who abandons my companions. Since we're working together, we have to fight to the last moment." Little Shadow, who had transformed into a black dragon, vomited blood again. In order to protect the 3's whereabouts, he was hit several times by the previous attacks and was seriously injured. So it's there." Shui Haiyang's eyes turned as he grinned. "Die, traitors. You're the ones who are going to die." Boom! A grayish-white talisman fell from the sky and exploded in the void where the 4 of them were. Lin Chen's figure flashed and arrived in an instant. The sacred dragon's possession had not been removed yet. He activated all the dragon meridians and punched toward the Divine Flame Palace's patriarch's will. Chapter 1448. The slowing rune exploded, and the 4 of them slowed down. Only the Divine Flame Ancestor's will, which was in Shui Haiyang's body, reacted and slapped back. Chi! Bang! When the 2 collided, a mushroom cloud exploded out of thin air. Within a radius of 100,000 miles, a fierce wind whistled like a knife. The other 3 were sent flying. Lin Chen's speed was too fast, so they didn't even have time to react. Lin Chen was shaken to the point of retreating, and he even suffered a slight injury. If not for Lin Chen's slowing rune weakening part of his strength, Lin Chen's injuries would have increased from this collision. The battle strength of this ancestors was close to the heaven-opening realm. It surpassed many peak Sacred Heart Realm cultivators. However, when Lin Shan activated the Dragon Vein, he activated the Yin-Yang Creation Dragon's bloodline ability. With the Yin-Yang Creation Dragon body, Lin Shan's Sacred Dragon's injuries recovered extremely quickly. The improvement brought by the Divine Dragon bloodline also had an effect on Lin Shan's other dragon bloodlines. The people of Divine Flame Palace had other intentions when they entered the 9-clan battlefield. According to the coordinates passed down by the previous generation's senior brother, they found the will of a Divine Flame Palace's ancestor in the 9-clan battlefield and used a special cultivation method of Divine Flame Palace to awaken it. And if the remnant wanted to move, it had to attach itself to a saint's body and gradually nibble away at their vitality. Although the price was great, the results were also very obvious. With the ancestors' will's deterrence and battle strength, it was almost unstoppable in the human battlefield. It was even enough to make them dare to take risks in the dragon race battlefield. The people of Divine Flame Palace are really like ghosts that won't go away. Do they want to court death so much? Under Lin Shan's calm face, there was a rage that was close to madness. Little Shadow, and he had a telepathic connection, and he knew very well that Little Shadow was seriously injured at this moment. His phantom doppelganger had already rushed over with healing pills and sage herbs, and his main body had come alone to stop the other party. It's all my fault. If I didn't bring Ping'an in, this little guy wouldn't have been seriously injured. Lin Shan's heart was heavy. Before entering the ancient Taishi dragon's tomb, he couldn't be sure that his sacred dragon possession could deceive the ancient dragon's will. That was why he brought Lin Ping'an into his Providence plant pouch. Lin Shan thought that even if something unexpected happened, with Lin Ping'an and the 4-piece War God set as his final trump card, he would still have a chance to resist. He originally thought that with Little Shadow in the outside world, he would be able to conceal the aura of the 3 of them and be absolutely safe. However, he did not expect that Shui Haiyang and the others from the Divine Flame Palace had long been on guard against Shang Wanshun. With the will of the ancestor who cultivated the same mental cultivation method, they had locked onto their position as soon as they entered the battlefield of the Dragon Clan. Nothing happened inside the dragon's tomb, but something happened outside. Lin Shan, your aura is that of a dragon? While Shui Haiyang was startled, the possessed Divine Flame ancestor coldly said, Junior, this is the person you said was obstructing my Divine Flame Palace's grand plan, right? Shui Haiyang nodded heavily. Yes, ancestor, it's this guy. If we don't get rid of this brat, my Divine Flame Palace will definitely brew a calamity. Buzz, that Divine Flame ancestors will look straight at Lin Shan. His gaze was like a sharp blade whistling in a spiritual storm, extremely sharp. He laughed hoarsely. I heard that you are a prodigy who can expand your acupoints by 30,000 times. Maybe it's a good choice to possess your body. I can even have a holy dragon with me. Not bad, not bad. Lin Shan was unperturbed. He channeled his talent and the holy dragon's bloodline special ability and sneered. Maybe it'll be a good harvest for me if I can beat you up, old fart. You have a sharp tongue. Die. You don't have any respect for your elders. Crawl. The dragon tail appeared. Lin Shan used instant light split shadows, a perfect grade bloodline special ability, and the azure dragon sword slashed out violently. The ancestors will punched out, shaking heaven and earth as it shattered the azure dragon light. Chi! Bang! An earth-shattering explosion swept out in all directions, alarming many experts in the Dragon Clan's battlefield. Both sides retreated several miles and stood still. The ancestors couldn't help but be stunned. 5 perfect grade, peak dragon special abilities? You really are a freak. Let's beat you half to death first before possessing your body. Rumble. The ancestors controlled Shui Haiyang's holy body, and a massive amount of holy force in his holy acupoint was sucked dry into his will, causing the 9-fold fire seal to circulate in his palm. Lin Shan's expression instantly became solemn. He was very familiar with this move. It was the 9-fold burning sky palm. However, if it was used by the Divine Flame Palace's ancestor. That kind of power might not be able to prevail even if a true heaven-opening realm expert came. Looks like I have to go all out. To deal with this Divine Flame ancestor, it would be impossible to not take out the Holy Dragon's trump card. Let me. Lin Ping, An's voice transmitted to Lin Shun. He said solemnly, "No, you have to preserve your strength well." Rumble. Waves of heat surged, and blazing flames covered the sky, condensing into a shocking giant palm the size of thousands of acres and slamming down. Buzz! The ancient heaven-raising bloodline was activated. An endless azure light gathered into a claw, supporting the heavens and earth. Lin Chen's claw slashed towards the sky. One split into 5. Transcendent bloodline ability, Heavenly Claw. After refining the Divine Dragon's bloodline, Lin Chen's Holy Dragon bloodline had expanded tenfold. When he erupted with this claw again, it could shock the heavens and earth and cause ghosts and gods to weep. 5 azure dragon claws that supported the heavens and earth howled and slammed into the ninefold burning sky palm. The earth's veins instantly cracked, and the earth's crust within tens of thousands of miles was overturned, collapsing and collapsing. Apart from the 3 dragon mountains that stood still, almost the entire continent was shattered into paste and burned into a sea of fire. What? The Divine Flame ancestors was slightly surprised. This was not something an ordinary holy dragon could do, let alone a high-grade 8th-order holy dragon. Even a peak 8th-order holy dragon might not be able to withstand this palm. A 9-fold bloodline dragon? No, it's not that simple. Could it be that the reason this kid appeared in the Dragon Clan's battlefield? The Divine Flame ancestor was old and shrewd. When he thought of Lin Chen's motive and a certain possibility of going to the Dragon Clan's battlefield, his expression was especially crazy and greedy. Divine Flame soul-stealing technique. The Divine Flame ancestors will form to seal with both hands. At this moment, with Shui Haiyang as the leader, the 4 monstrous geniuses from the Divine Flame Palace began to burn intensely. Oh ancestor, what is this? No, don't ancestor. We are here to save you on the orders of the other patriarchs. The 4 geniuses burst into heart-wrenching screams as they were burned beyond recognition. The Divine Flame ancestor laughed sinisterly. Don't worry, young Master Wu Pianju will know that you have contributed to the Divine Flame Palace. He opened his mouth and swallowed the burning life essence of the 4 geniuses into his mouth. Clang! A sharp white saber shadow flashed. It was Lin Chen's rhino flying dagger. It was connected to its master's heart and instantly tried to stop the Divine Flame ancestor from absorbing this power. Clang! The rhino flying dagger was bounced away. It was too late. The Divine Flame ancestors will become more and more complete. From the previous appearance of only the upper body, it turned into a complete body and attached itself to the half-dead Shui Haiyang. Sure enough, the things that the Divine Flame Palace's branch palace made are a bit strange. Lin Chen narrowed his eyes. The Divine Flame ancestors was more than twice as strong as before. Can I only use the Ares set or the new Bloodline special ability? Chapter 1449. This guy is really ruthless. He took 3.5 lives from the Divine Flame Palace. Is he determined to kill me? Lin Chen took a step forward, and the Yin-Yang dragon aura gathered in his palm. This old monster had most likely guessed that he had the Divine Dragon bloodline. After all, in the eyes of the Divine Flame Palace's many patriarchs, a rank 9 dragon bloodline might be considered an outstanding junior with potential, but it was definitely not worthy of their level of madness. Only the Divine Dragon bloodline. This was the potential of the Divine Dragon bloodline. The Divine Flame Palace's patriarchs will laugh maniacally. Junior Lin Shun, I want both your body and the Divine Dragon. Rumble. He once again unleashed the 9-layer burning sky palm, and with a palm strike, the light of fire lit up the entire sky, as if a blazing sun had descended. This time, the power was fierce and unparalleled. It could crush the stars and burn billions of stars. Taishi, eh. Just as Lin Shun was about to try out his new killer move, the 9-layer burning heavens palm in midair instantly exploded, turning into an endless meteor shower that rained down. The fire burned for 100,000 miles. At the center of the meteor shower caused by the 9-layer burning heavens palm, a petite and dainty blonde figure was floating in the air. She was wearing a pale, golden chong sam, beautiful and elegant, but the overbearing smile on her lips made her look charming and cold. The divine flame patriarch's will was stunned. He looked at the little girl as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. He seemed to have thought of something and was shocked. You are the ancient Taishi dragon. Chi. Rip. Her soft and slender hand made a pulling motion in the air, and the space was torn apart with a ripping sound. Lin Shun sucked in a breath of cold air. The space crystal wall of the battlefield of the 9 races was many times more stable than the outside world, but it was torn apart like thin paper. Crack, crack, crack. The divine flame patriarch's will cracked and disappeared. His expression was filled with disbelief. Could it be that he inherited the ancient Taishi dragon bloodline? The last wisp of the divine flame patriarch's will disappeared. Shui Haiyang turned into a pool of blood as the divine flame patriarch disappeared. The blonde turned around and smiled. Are you all right? Lin Shun frowned and said, but, Senior, Lin Shun found that her figure was becoming more and more transparent. According to what she said before, she should not be able to leave the plane she created. Although this old man isn't much, he's still a remnant of the same generation as me. Even if he's just a wisp of his soul, I don't want the little guy that I've spent so much effort to cultivate to die here. The golden-haired beauty arrived on a golden light. Before Lin Shun could react, her fragrant lips lightly touched Lin Shen's forehead like a dragonfly skimming the surface of the water, and she charmingly smiled. Little fellow of the human race, you've managed to keep your life. Lin Shen's heart skipped a beat, and he unconsciously took a few steps back. Exposed? His identity as a human was exposed. Say, Senior, have you seen through it? Lin Shen was drenched in cold sweat. Logically speaking, after sparring with the ancient dragon's will, he did not think that he and Lin Ping and would be able to resist her. However, she wanted to kill him. Lin Shun, could not just stand there and let her kill him. The dragon tribe had a strong sense of rejection toward other tribes. The more powerful and bloodline a dragon tribe member was, the stronger their sense of honor and status would be. Hence, the dragon tribe would almost never allow their bloodline or secrets to be passed on to other tribes. In particular, humans who had the bloodline of the dragon tribe were viewed as thieves by the dragon tribe. They were extremely detested. The golden-haired beauty smiled mockingly. I've already seen through it. If it weren't for the fact that you dare to challenge that guy, you would have already been killed by me in the dragon tomb. Lin Shun was sweating profusely. He had thought that his disguise was impeccable. From a certain perspective, Lin Shen's holy dragon possession was indeed impeccable. However, after passing the ancient dragon's trial, he used the 4-piece God of War set to unleash an unprecedented punch against that mysterious person, thereby exposing his human aura. After taking a deep breath, Lin Shun bowed deeply toward her. Thank you for your magnanimity, Senior. She knew that he was a human, but she had passed on the bloodline of the divine dragon to him. This was a huge favor. The golden-haired beauty waved her hand and smiled like a flower. You're an exception. If you don't die in the future, remember to come back and visit me. She stared straight at Lin Shun. When she looked down, she licked her slender fingertips with her delicate tongue. She giggled seductively. It's so delicious. I don't want to only drink it once. Lin Shun blushed under her stare. Why was this senior ancient dragon so skilled? She was really good at flirting with people. At this moment, the sound of wind whistling could be heard. Your Excellency Lin Shun. Shangguan Chun shouted anxiously as he dragged Little Shadow, who was on the verge of death, and rushed over. Lin Shun narrowed his eyes and immediately flew over. He pressed his palm against the dragon-shaped Little Shadow. How could it be so serious? Lin Shun frowned. Little Shadow had been with him for a long time, and it had never suffered such internal injuries. Its dragon veins were broken, its bloodline was damaged, and even its heart, which belonged to the Dark Shadow clan, showed signs of rupture. This was not something that could be healed with 1 or 2 divine elixir pills. Unless Lin Shun had an 8th grade divine elixir pill, he would die if he delayed any longer. Feng Shui was said with tears in her eyes. In order to wait for you, brother Lin Shun, it had been protecting the 3 mountains and fighting with the 4 people from the Xinyan Palace. It was injured several times by the will of the Xinyan Palace's patriarch. Little guy, if you want to cure it, there's only one possibility. At this moment, the golden-haired beauty walked in the air with a rare, solemn expression. It had to be said that it was the first time she, who had the will of the ancient dragon, had seen such a strange creature. The flesh and blood of the dragon clan, a hybrid of the Dark Shadow and the demon clan. Lin Shun said in a deep voice, "Senior, please tell me. Let's go to the Dark Shadow race's battlefield. As far as I know, countless innate Dark Shadows have died there. Perhaps there are still some remnant wills of old antiques wandering there. Only the Dark Shadow race can save them." Although it had the bloodline of the 3 clans mixed, Little Shadow's structure was still that of an innate Dark Shadow. Dark Shadow clan's battlefield? Shangguan Chun was shocked. This was the most difficult space to find in the battlefield of the 9 clans. The Dark Shadow clan had all fallen in the war, and their bodies and blood were perfectly hidden in this space. I can send you there, but you have to be extra careful. Those guys are not to be trifled with. Thank you, Senior. Lin Shan nodded seriously. No matter what, he could not abandon Little Shadow. I'll only send you there. It's too much of a burden for the others. The golden-haired beauty glanced at the 3 of them indifferently. Lin Shan nodded at the 3 of them and said, "You 3, go back to the battlefield of the human clan first." The 3 of them could only nod. Before they left, they still reminded Lin Chun to be careful. "Senior." Lin Shun looked at the golden-haired beauty and said seriously, Lin Shun, will never forget Senior's kindness. If there's a chance in the future, I'll definitely save Senior from this abyss." The golden-haired beauty flicked Lin Chen's forehead and smiled beautifully. "You're young, but you talk big. Take care of yourself first." She waved her sleeve, and Lin Shun and Little Shadow were sucked into a spatial whirlpool and disappeared. At this time, inside the endless altar of the demon clan's battlefield, the 10 primordial giant demons looked at the dying first-rank holy demon king. One of the giant demons cursed. Madhav asterisk Kerr. Only one of them came back after dying. Chapter 1450. The dimensional vortex disappeared, and Lin Shun arrived at a dark and lightless dimension. It was dark all around. Even when Lin Shun channeled his saint power, the light he emitted was extremely weak and limited. It was as if there was something blocking the path of light in this dimension. It was like an eternal silence that would never usher in light. Lin Shun released his spiritual perception slightly, but it was as if it had sunk into a boundless quagmire. There was no response at all. Lin Shun did not act rashly. The Dark Shadow tribe was once the most feared tribe among the many races. Their strength might not be the strongest, but their innate talent for space was above all other living beings. Legend had it that only a small number of space-type divine dragons could contend with them. Almost all other races revered the Dark Shadow tribe. What a strange dimension. Little guy, can you still hold on? Lin Shun looked at Little Ning, only to find that Little Ning was staring blankly in a certain direction. I think I've been here before. When Little Shadow sent a telepathic message to Lin Shun, it raised its paw and pointed in another direction. That way. I think I've been here before. Lin Shun was surprised. Little Shadow had been here before? Didn't that mean it was in its egg form? Could it be that Tuo Sheng had been here before? This place is surrounded by dark energy. Can't move around, Little Shadow said with blood dripping from its mouth. These are all dead Dark Shadow corpses. Their corpses will change the dimension into the most chaotic state. Lin Shun felt a chill run down his spine. Following that, Lin Shun followed the directions given by Little Shadow and sped through the boundless darkness of the void. The coldness of the void caused Lin Shun to feel a bone-chilling coldness penetrating through his body. After traveling for less than 15 minutes, Lin Chen's spiritual perception suddenly exploded, and his hair stood on end. There seemed to be a pair of eyes in the dark dimension staring at him. Whoosh! Lin Shun immediately equipped the 4 pieces of the God of War, and he was ready for battle. Buzz! 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 A strange spatial fluctuation was emitted, and the small shadow behind Lin Chen also emitted a unique spatial fluctuation. Lin Chen didn't act rashly. He had heard that this was the Dark Shadow race's unique method of communication. No other race could spy on their conversation. It told me to go over by myself. Big brother, let me down? Little Shadow said weakly. No, you're already in such a state. If I were to hand you over, wouldn't I be giving your life to someone else? Lin Shun resolutely refused. I'll help you find another way. It's all right. I can feel that the seniors here don't have any ill intentions. Also, I have a feeling that I should be here. It seems that some secret happened in the clan back then, and the seniors who died here still need me to bring the news back to the Dark Shadow clan. Little Shadow's injuries had worsened, and even his voice had become extremely weak. Lin Chen clenched his fists. After a dozen breaths of silence, he couldn't help but take a deep breath. Your shadow is still inside my fate plant pouch. If anything happens to you, ping in and I will flip over their graves. Big brother. Also, Lin Chen looked straight into Little Shadow's eyes. You should have your own name. Little Shadow was stunned. After being hatched by Lin Chen as an egg, Little Shadow gained intelligence and followed Lin Chen to explore the sacred boundary. Lin Chen was like a father and a brother, and the so-called master was just a title Lin Chen used in the past. Lin Chen didn't really enslave Little Shadow. Lin Chen never gave Little Shadow a name because it had never chosen one. Whether it came to this world or was taken away by Lin Chen, Little Shadow had never chosen a name of its own. But this was the first time it made a choice on its own. It meant that from now on, it was truly an independent entity. Amen. Big brother Lin Chen, I will. Little Shadow's dragon body was bleeding, but its eyes were shining brighter. Lin Chen let go of Little Shadow and handed the fate plant pouch that contained a large number of saint pills and golden saint origin coins to Little Shadow. The ultimate Shadow's weakness still existed. If Little Shadow's energy was exhausted and he didn't have saint-grade pills to replenish it, his combat strength would be greatly reduced. Lin Chen watched as Little Shadow floated into the boundless darkness. It was like a flash of light that sneaked into the darkness until it disappeared. At this time, a cryptic voice echoed in the void. Thank you, young human. Lin Chen didn't reply. He just stared in the direction Little Shadow left. He slowly returned to the place where he was teleported and left the battlefield of the Dark Shadow tribe. The boundless darkness of the void returned to eternal silence. The little guy's shadow is still here. It should be fine for now. After Lin Chen left the battlefield of the Dark Shadow tribe, a spatial vortex disappeared, and he arrived outside a pitch-black palace. There were many huge palaces around him, and they looked solemn and dignified. However, what caught Lin Chen's attention even more was that a beam of golden light shot up into the sky from the dark void, emitting an immortal aura that shot up into the sky. That's the attribute light of the Aries set. Lin Chen's mouth was slightly agape. The attributes of the Aries set were glowing brighter than ever before. But then, Lin Chen immediately realized what was going on. Huh? Lin Chen rubbed his chin. This wasn't right. Lin Chen took 1/10 of a breath to realize what was going on. He sucked in a breath of cold air. Oh my God, did I come to the battlefield of the demon race? The battlefield of the demon race. The headquarters of the demon race. Only the demon race could stay in the battlefield of the 9 clans. If it weren't for the fact that the planes repelled each other and limited the number of demons that could be transported, the battlefield of the 9 clans would have been occupied by the demon race long ago. But even so, This was the headquarters of the demon race. No one could imagine how many Saint Demon Kings were gathered here. Lin Chen's arrival here was like a sheep entering a pack of wolves. One had to know that even the old ancestor of the Divine Flame Palace, who had the battle prowess of the heaven-opening realm, didn't dare to approach this place. HM? What's going on? There's a human in the venerable area? Ha ha! A human actually dares to barge in, courting death. This king has not tasted the flesh of a saint for 100 eras, kikik. The sky was filled with violent howls and roars. Lin Chen's whereabouts were instantly exposed. Without Little Shadow by his side, Lin Chen's disguise wasn't very good. There were many types of Saint Demon Kings. Some of them were good at sensing, and they sensed Lin Chen's location almost instantly. Rumble, rumble. The space shook, and an overwhelming amount of demon chi swept through the 9 heavens and 10 earths like a storm, gathering toward Lin Chen. They're coming for me. Looks like I have to break through with all my strength. With 3 flying daggers in hand, Lin Chen was on high alert. He released his spiritual power and sensed that there were close to 10,000 mid-level Saint Demon Kings nearby. If they attacked together, even a Saint Heart would be drowned in an instant. However, I can't just leave like this. There are still parts of the Ares set in the battlefield of the demon race. Lin Chen's lips curled up. It looked like he was going to play big. Chapter 1451. Slow Rune. Lotus Dance. Clang. When the slow rune was cast, saber light flashed wildly. What followed was an overwhelming number of flying lotus flowers, each of which contained an extreme saber light. The sharp saber light cut through the demonic aura tide that had stopped in the void. The 8 spiritual burning dragons roared at the sky, and billions of starlight turned into sword light, cutting through the 9 heavens. Bang! 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 A large number of Holy Demon King's attacks were destroyed by Lin Chen's 6 doppelgangers, forcing back a large number of Holy Demon Kings that tried to approach Lin Chen. Some of the Holy Demon Kings that were affected by the attacks were instantly pulverized. Lin Chen activated his movement technique and broke through the encirclement like a streak of black light. His 6 doppelgangers were like stars surrounding the moon, attacking endlessly at lightning speed, protecting Lin Chen as he broke through the encirclement. Roar! There's something strange about this human. Even a human with a sage heart shouldn't be able to block so many of our attacks. This human is very strange. Hurry up and inform the higher-ups. His attacks can freeze space. Our attacks have been weakened by him. The various Saint Demon Kings saw through the clues with a single glance. The battle was ever-changing. Even if it was a mid-level Saint Demon King, as long as they were not instantly killed, they could regroup and react, fighting a completely different battle formation. Holy Demon Kings aren't ants. Fighting head-on like this will exhaust my trump cards. I can't let them know my route. Otherwise, they'll concentrate their forces and set a trap for me. Lin Chen narrowed his eyes. Just his spiritual perception alone told him that close to 18,000 Holy Demon Kings and 100 high-level Holy Demon Kings had already gathered within a radius of 10 million miles. This number was truly terrifying. It was equivalent to 18,000 transformative saints and 100 life and death saints. There's something strange about the halls those fellows are protecting. At this moment, Lin Chen suddenly realized that the aura released by the halls around him was extremely strong, even surpassing the heaven-opening stage of the human race. Many Holy Demon Kings stood nearby and didn't dare to approach. Could it be? Many thoughts flashed through Lin Chen's mind. He cast another 10 delaying runes and consumed another 10,000 points of top-notch rune energy. Abruptly, he charged toward the nearest demonic palace. Oh no, he's coming for us. Damn it, this human looks so young, but how is he so strong? The high-level Holy Demon Kings protecting the halls were flustered and exasperated, and the void instantly exploded. The phantom doppelganger drew the bow and shot out. The sound of the bowstring could shatter the stars and shatter the stars. The arrow shot out was shrouded in sharp purple clouds. It divided into 5 and crossed the horizon, shooting through the galaxy. The arrow shot out like a meteor and landed with a loud boom. Many high-level holy demon kings who were in a slowed state were shot into a bloody mist. The rest were all heavily injured. Chi, the god's tier rune energy, slashed, and exploded. Bang! Countless saber energy shards rained down from the sky in a radius of tens of thousands of kilometers. They minced the heavily injured holy demon kings into pieces and pierced through their bodies, killing them on the spot. At this time, the surrounding holy demon kings gathered again. The 6 doppelgangers formed a hexagonal formation and continued to protect him. Together with the slow rune, they blocked the attacks of many holy demon kings. Lin Shun, what about me, what about me? Lin pinged and shouted excitedly in the Providence plant pouch. He smiled casually and said, "It's not your turn yet." Under the cover of his doppelganger, Lin Shun rushed into the devil hall that was filled with terrifying pressure. Boom! The demonic aura was dense, and its aura could suppress all eternity. It was permeated with the holy power of the human race. It was as if a part of the history of the holy demon race had been buried here. Even Sacred Heart cultivators would be greatly affected if they got close. However, the one who charged in this time was Lin Shun. Even the divine aura couldn't suppress him. Although this terrifying aura was strong, it didn't affect him much. Lin Shun charged straight into the hall. A 40-foot long, 20-foot wide bronze coffin was sealed here. All the demonic aura came from that bronze coffin. Lin Ping was like a tiger, and he didn't seem to be afraid at all. He actually charged forward and pushed open the bronze coffin. Inside the demonic coffin lay a tall and handsome figure. It had the appearance and facial features of a human. It was 4 to 5 times taller than a normal person. Its hair was light, and its face was as white as jade. There were 2 pairs of flesh-like, demonic wings on its back. Its baleful aura was monstrous, and there was a majestic aura between its brows. It was as if one would kneel down and tremble if they looked at it directly. A holy demon's corpse. Lin Shun was filled with excitement. Damn, this holy demon's background wasn't small. Although Lin Shun hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he remembered the classification of the holy demon race clearly. Above the demon monarch was the holy demon king, and a top-level holy demon king was comparable to a Sacred Heart or heaven-opening realm cultivator. Above the top-level holy demon king was the holy demon lord, the leader of the kings and the holy demon lord. Every holy demon lord was an existence that reigned supreme in the holy demon race. Their strength was comparable to a human first transformation to 9th transformation sage, and the top-level heavenly demon lord was comparable to a human sage king. Every heavenly demon lord was a direct subordinate of the holy demon lord. During the Great War of the 9 races, countless holy demons had died. Only a few holy demon lords' bodies were preserved. No wonder these holy demons didn't dare to act rashly. So it's the body of a holy demon lord. Ordinary top-level holy demon kings can't get close to the holy demon lord's aura. Without a doubt, this holy demon lord is already dead. Did these holy demons want to revive by placing the holy demon lord's corpse here? Or are they trying to squeeze out the last bit of value from this corpse? Wait a minute. Suddenly, a bold and crazy idea appeared in Lin Shen's mind. He grinned. His smile was very pure, like a child's. Boom! Bang! The holy demon lord collapsed. Lin Shun punched through the holy demon lord. Holy demon lord! Holy demon lord! I have to thank you first. Ha ha ha! Lin Shun skillfully put on his self-made sunglasses, and the corners of his mouth rose crazily. Then let's have the most exciting drift in the history of the 9 races. 15 minutes later, in the Holy Demon Battlefield, Northwest Holy Demon Palace. When the armored 3-eyed Holy Demon King received the voice transmission, he couldn't help but be slightly stunned. A human has barged into the Eastern Tomb? How is that possible? That's the Holy Demon Lord's Holy Demon King area. Even the high-level holy demon kings can't easily get close to the holy demon lord's burial area. Gee, bang! There was an earth-shattering explosion. The holy demon palace shook, and the holy demons outside screamed in agony. My lord, that human is attacking us. The three-eyed demon king crushed the jade slip and sneered. I want to see what kind of heaven-defying abilities this human has. He's just one person. What can he do? Rip. The three-eyed holy demon king charged out of the holy demon palace aggressively. Just as it was about to fight, the holy demon lord's aura suddenly came crashing down. Within a 50,000-kilometer radius, the encirclement formed by 10,000 holy demon kings was broken through by a ray of light. When the three-eyed holy demon king saw this scene, its jaws almost dropped to the ground. On the horizon, the silver-robed young man stood on the ancient demon lord's coffin. He wore sunglasses and held the flag. Using the ancient demon lord's coffin's aura, he broke through the encirclement and rushed over. He stepped on the coffin and made use of the inertia generated by the explosion of the holy demon king's corpse. His movements were clean and neat. He spun 360 degrees in the air and glided in a 666 trajectory in the air. He looked elegant and at ease with a hint of flirtatiousness. When the three-eyed holy demon king saw this scene, its scalp went numb. When it saw the flag on Lin Chen's shoulder, almost became a retard. The flag on Lin Chen's shoulder was engraved with the words, "One of the 10 most handsome dudes in Guangshui City." Special guest performance, Hearst Drift, D. Hearst Drift. Chapter 1452. On the 9 races battlefield, I'm the craziest. Lin Chen stepped on the demon venerable's coffin. His body was like a dragon, and the coffin was like a gust of wind. He was like an arrow that left the bow, crushing everything in his path. The holy demon kings that surrounded him were all injured by the demon venerable's aura. They were all crushed into powder within 100,000 feet. Lin Chen tiptoed, and the demon coffin flipped in the air. He even did an inverted coffin drift. The holy demon kings were so angry that they almost vomited blood on the spot. How humiliating. What a *king humiliation. This was a humiliating moment in the history of the demons. If news of this got back to the demons, the holy demon kings guarding the demon battlefield would no longer have any prestige. They would even be seen as outliers. The demon venerable that they worshipped was being used as a stepping stone by a human brat. Just like that? This was too *king intolerable. Even if I die today, I'll drag him down with me. Roar. Humans. Humans. *CKUY. If I don't kill him today, I'll kill myself. The holy demon kings roared as if they had gone mad. They form a new team and charge forward. Lin Chen's lips curled up slightly. It was exactly as he had guessed. The demon venerable's corpse had been in the demon venerable's coffin for a long time. Its demonic aura was overwhelming, and its might was boundless, especially when it was at the level of a life-and-death battle before it died. The evil aura left behind made it even more difficult for all living beings to get close. Otherwise, someone as strong as Lin Chen would have to use all his trump cards to break through the encirclement of so many fearless holy demon kings. Most importantly, Lin Chen would have to face the encirclement of the entire demon battlefield. At that time, he would be exhausted to death. But it was different now. He could use the demon venerable's aura to charge straight to the source of the elemental light. Hey, what kind of joke is this? He's heading in the direction of our great sacrificial altar. Damn it, he's heading toward the altar. Everyone move out. Even if we die, we must stop this lunatic. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Sonic booms rang out as the 4 peak-level holy demon kings simultaneously blocked Lin Chen's path. Ordinary peak-level holy demon kings could barely withstand the demon supremacy's aura if they tried their best to resist it. However, if they got too close, they would be injured by the demon supremacy's aura. Myriad demon's heaven-covering hand. Azure Devil Devour. The 4 peak-level Holy Demon Kings used their killer moves right from the start. They wanted to break through the Demon Lord's might and destroy Lin Chun. Under everyone's gaze, Lin Chun didn't use his move. Instead, he leaped into the air and kicked the ancient Demon Venerable's coffin away. Rumble. No matter how many killer moves the top-level Holy Demon Kings unleashed, Lin Chun could break through them with a single coffin. The Demon Venerable's coffin was like a beam of light, crushing all of their attacks. While the 2 top-level Holy Demon Kings were knocked back and bleeding profusely, the other 2 barely managed to stabilize the demonic coffin. They couldn't help but be overjoyed. Quick, kill this brat. Lord Demon Venerable's coffin is back. However, just as they finished speaking, the next moment, Lin Mu waved his hand and another Demon Venerable's coffin appeared out of nowhere. This time, its aura was even stronger than the previous one. All the Holy Demon Kings felt their scalps tingle. F***CK. You still have more? But something's not right. The Holy Demon Kings exchanged glances. They knew very well that the human race's spatial storage couldn't store the Demon Venerable's body. That terrifying aura was enough to shatter the spatial crystal walls into nothingness. Ha! I'm going to take a deeter first. Let's go. If you don't like it, come at me. Lin Chun looked up at the sky and laughed wildly. Ignoring their shock, he sped up and charged toward the extreme south of the battlefield. Indeed, the Providence Plant Pouch and normal spatial artifacts couldn't contain the ancient Demon Venerable's aura. However, Lin Chun wasn't using them to store the ancient Demon Venerable's coffin. He was using his orange-grade talent, Chrono Transcendence. In Chrono Transcendence, only Lin Chun was absolute. Whatever bullsh *T aura was useless. Not to mention a Demon Venerable's coffin. Even a heavenly Demon Venerable's coffin would be fine. Human Jr., don't even think about getting past me. A demonic aura descended, covering the sky. It was the 3-eyed Demon King. Go to the side. Lin Chun leaped into the air and kicked the Demon Sovereign's coffin, sending it flying like a meteor. The 3-eyed Demon King was so shocked that it hastily activated its defense after only 2 seconds. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, another dozen or so Holy Demon Kings arrived. Again, no matter, I'll shoot as many as you have today. I'll kick all of you until you submit. Lin Chun's domineering aura was awe-inspiring. He clawed at the void with his palm, and dozens of light cocoons appeared out of thin air. The Devil Sovereign's might that swept through the 9 heavens and 10 earths was like a boundless mountain that pressed down on the hearts of all the devils, causing them to fiercely suck in a breath of cold air once again. 18 ancient Demon Venerable coffins. Seeing this, some of the Holy Demon Kings suddenly recalled that this kid had gone to all the ancient Demon Venerable burial halls. Could it be? Go. Ares Greaves. Lin Chun activated his movement technique and moved as fast as he could. At the same time, he activated the Ares Greaves. His pure strength skyrocketed as he kicked. Bang, 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 bang. His godly power, which could crush the stars, sun, and moon, exploded. It transformed into beams of golden light that shot out, instantly kicking all 18 ancient Demon Venerable coffins away. He was extremely fast. Rumble, bang, bang, bang. All 18 Holy Demon Kings were knocked back by the ancient coffins. Roar. The 3-eyed Demon King's eyes widened. However, before it could chase after them, its pupils suddenly trembled. A huge wound had appeared on the ancient Demon Venerable's chest. Blood flowed out nonstop. This wound couldn't be healed by any means. Intermediate orange-grade talent. Annihilation and Creation. Lin Chun had activated his orange-grade talent, Annihilation and Creation, in advance. He had cut all the ancient Demon Venerables in the coffins so that their bodies could never be healed. Although he didn't know what the demons were plotting, it was definitely not a good thing for the ancient Demon Venerable's body to be left behind. Lin Chun just had to destroy it. At this moment, Lin Chun stepped on the ground, and another ancient demon venerable coffin flew into the air. Marshal Lin, who was wearing sunglasses, looked extremely cool. He turned into a flash of lightning and whistled as he flew across the sky. I am Guang Shui City's Black Horse Team's #1 shooter, Golden Right Foot. I will only kick the ancient demon venerable coffins. Ancient demon venerable coffins. Good kick, good kick, good kick, good kick. Please look carefully. Ancient demon venerable tablet. 1 coffin is better than 6. Hearst Drift. I will only choose the ancient demon venerable coffins. Single machine hall, Remania pill. I will give you a gift. Ancient demon venerable coffins. Ancient demon venerable coffins are the symbol of a successful man. You deserve to have them. Lin Shan stepped on the coffins like a gust of wind. He charged out of the encirclement formed by the holy demon kings with unstoppable momentum and headed straight for the demon's sacrificial altar. If a top-tier holy demon king approached along the way, Lin Shan would go up and kick the ancient demon venerable coffins away. He was invincible in the vast and terrifying waves of demons. On this day, the demon's battlefield in the battlefield of the 9 races was completely turned upside down. Since ancient times, no race had ever dared to barge into the demon's territory. Not to mention, the intruders this time were humans, whom the demons despised the most. Chapter 1453. The Demon Great Altar was one of the many forbidden grounds in the demon battlefield. Without the permission of the higher-ups, even high-tier holy demon kings would be blasted to smithereens. The Demon Great Altar was built at the edge of the demon battlefield. It was the location closest to the core of the Great War of the 9 races. The Demon Great Altar was the most important place to maintain the demon battlefield. If not for the altar being maintained by dozens of powerful holy demon kings and 10 primordial ogres, the demon battlefield would be like any other planar space. One could only enter when the time came. At this moment, inside the Demon Great Altar, the 10 primordial ogres were continuously injecting their own energy into the altar. The whirling pitch-black holes above their heads became deeper and darker. The beautiful dark green woman looked up and waved her huge tail. She trembled with excitement and exclaimed softly, "After so many years of maintaining and persevering, the time is finally coming." The cold and ruthless gray-robed old man couldn't help but sigh. That's right. This damned thing simply can't be fed. Fortunately, in the next few days, when the altar accumulates enough energy, the demon battlefield will be able to accommodate a demon lord. The other ogres looked at each other in disgust. That's right. We can't afford to make any mistakes at this juncture. A green ogre with 3 huge pythons coiling around his body spoke in a low, muffled voice. For this moment, we can't let down the wishes of our ancestors. 2 ogres with feathers all over their bodies and hands like claws cackled sinisterly. As long as the demon battlefield can accommodate a demon lord, we can stabilize the altar with Lord Demon Lord's cultivation and continue to send energy back. This cycle will allow even more demon lords to enter. When the time comes, with the demon blood of samsara that Lord Demon Lord obtained from the Great Emperor, the primordial demon lords buried here will all be able to awaken. One day, we demons will be able to let a great emperor enter this place. Then, more than half of the secrets of the demon battlefield will belong to us demons. The conversation of the 9 ogres caused the 10th ogres to open their eyes. It was a silver-haired demon, and it looked like a 15 or 16-year-old human youth. Its silver-gray eyes were covered in dense dragon patterns, and there was a hideous scar at the corner of its eye that looked as if it had been cut by a knife. When he spoke, his voice was hoarse and vicious. It said that the item that caused the Great War can allow our clan's Grand Emperor to ascend to a realm that he could only dream of. As soon as these words were spoken, the entire place fell silent. The demon monarch could create billions of demon clans with a single thought. In the blink of an eye, he could turn the world upside down and destroy tens of thousands of planes. Every great emperor of the demon clan was the pinnacle of the demon clan. They were the creators of the demon clan's history for billions of eras. Every great emperor was an existence that rivaled the true gods of the human race. However, at some point in time, the great emperors who had yet to appeared one after another. They pointed their swords at the various races, especially the human race, and waged war over and over again, fighting for countless epochs. There was once a rumor that the great emperors had discovered that the peak of the devil race was not the great emperor realm. There were even higher realms. The great emperors once called this realm the demonic god king. Once a great emperor became the demonic god king, the devil race, which had been divided for countless years, would welcome an unprecedented unification and sweep through all the other races. The legend of the demonic god king is ultimately just a legend. The various races are not as strong as before. If the great emperors of our race join forces, we will definitely be able to devour all the other races. In the divine river star system, there are still the true gods of the human race's sacred boundary. In the dragon race, there are still divine dragons suppressing the heavens. After the great war between the 9 races, a new race, the demonic tribe, rose. Although their bloodline is lowly, they have a great emperor who broke into the human race's sacred boundary alone. The situation is not clear yet, and any war could lead to the other races besieging the devil race. By the way, why don't we go and suppress the eternal sacred fire's demon cave? Rumble. The silver-haired demon king unleashed a terrifying aura and looked at the demons with a strong deterrent force. The 9 ancient giant demons looked at each other. As if they had touched upon some taboo, they immediately shut their mouths. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Ripples appeared in space, attracting the attention of the 10 demon kings present. What's going on? Why is space shaking nearby? Who dares to act rashly here? Just as the demon kings were puzzled, there was a commotion outside. Whoosh! 2 peak-level holy demon kings with the heads of birds and the bodies of human beings rushed into the sacrificial altar. Their bodies were grayish-white, and their demonic bodies were like pillars of the heavens. The 10 demon kings narrowed their eyes. What was going on this time? In the past, they had to report to the demonic tribe when they approached the devil race's altar. They could only enter after obtaining permission. The 2 top-level holy demon kings did not even greet each other as they rushed in anxiously and hurriedly asked, "Lords, a human has invaded our battlefield. He has broken through the encirclement of all the top-tier holy demon kings." The moment they said that, there was an uproar. Boom, boom, boom. 3 of the 10 demon kings were so shocked that they stood up. Hey, what kind of joke is this? This is the demonic tribe's main camp. Who dares to barge in here? And it's a freaking human? A human? A human dares to barge into our battlefield? How dare he? This king will personally destroy him. The 3 demon kings immediately turned from shock to anger. Their murderous aura surged, and the air around them was torn apart like a whirlwind. The entire sky was instantly filled with wind and clouds. Killing intent soared into the sky. Terrifying demonic chi roared like an evil dragon, causing the mountains and rivers to tremble. Each of the 10 demon kings was comparable to a heaven-opening realm cultivator. The 2 top-tier demon kings hurriedly said, "Lords, according to the information brought back by the flying fiend, the human who barged into our battlefield is the same person as the one who killed 100 high-level holy demon kings and 29 top-tier holy demon kings." The moment they said that, all the demon kings were enraged. Damn it, I haven't even gone to settle the score with him, and he dares to come knocking on our door. Does he really think that our demonic tribe has no experts? Another 2 demon kings stood up. They were furious. As top-tier demons, their dignity seemed to have been greatly humiliated. Just as the 2 top-tier holy demon kings were about to continue reporting, chi, bang, bang, bang. A series of explosions occurred in the entire demonic tribe's altar hall, and it started to shake. Rumble. Golden light flashed, and a loud explosion resounded. The barrier of the demonic tribe's altar hall was broken, and the roof of the hall was instantly blasted open. Bang! 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 3 demonic coffins pierced through the hall like shooting stars and landed on the altar. Smoke signals wreaked havoc, and dust swirled in the air. When the 10 demon kings saw this, their pupils involuntarily shrank. Hey, it's fake, right?" muttered one of the demon kings. Above the demonic coffins, smoke and dust billowed. A young man in a silver robe stood with his arms crossed. He stood on the ancient demon venerable coffin and looked straight at the 10 demon kings. He had a mocking smile on his face, not showing the slightest hint of fear. The demon kings were shocked and shocked. He had actually killed his way to the demonic tribe's great altar alone. Since ancient times, not a single human had dared to enter the demonic tribe's battlefield, let alone do such a daring and heaven-defying thing. This brat was the first. Lin Shun, standing on a coffin, descending from the sky to the demonic tribe's great altar. Chapter 1454. After the War of the 9 Races, no living being had ever dared to enter the 9 Races battlefield, not to mention a human. This extremely impactful scene stunned even the 10 demon kings. When they saw the demon lord's coffin under Lin Chen's feet, they were even more shocked. Damn it, what kind of joke is this? Did this kid step on the demon lord's coffin? What's going on? Even our saint demon kings can't get close to the demon lord's burial hall. How did this human throw the demon lord's coffin over? The saint demon kings couldn't hide their shock. Back then, in order to find the remains of the exalted demon, the 10 great demon kings had gathered several dozen extremely powerful peak saint demon kings to carry the remains back. After that, they had to build the coffin to preserve the demon lord's remains, which took more than 10,000 years. Even the 10 demon kings couldn't move the demon lord's remains easily. How could a human boy bring them to the altars of the devil clan? Smack! Lin Shun snapped his fingers and looked at the 10 saint demon kings with a mocking smile. What do you mean by surprise? What do you mean by surprise? The pleasant surprise is that I, the handsome Lin Shun, did not step on the rainbow clouds and kick the demonic coffin while singing and killing my way here. The demon kings were shocked. I remember now. It's Lin Shun. Could it be that Lin Shun that the human clear sky Saint King asked us to pay attention to? Damn it, there's such a thing in the world? How can this kid be so daring? How dare you attack the great sacrificial altar of our demon battlefield? Boom! The Saint Demon King, with the appearance of a silver-haired youth, reacted the fastest. Demonic aura surged, and he struck out with his palm. Being aura rolled like a dragon's claw toward Lin Shun. Human die. Slow rune. A slow rune with 10,000 points of rune energy. When the space froze, the slow rune exploded and was crushed into pieces by the dragon's claw. 2 figures turned into lightning and punched out. Bang! 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 The dragon claw exploded, sending shockwaves into the sky. Space rippled, and the entire great devil sacrificial altar shook violently. It was Lin Chen's Sheng Long and Lin Pingyan. 1 man and 1 dragon had joined forces to break the strongest demon king's attack. Damn it, Tianyin, you're crazy. Why are you fighting with him here? The altar has collapsed. All our efforts over the years have been in vain. The 10 demon kings cursed angrily through voice transmission. However, their voice transmissions did not avoid Lin Shun. Lin Shun had already awakened, perception awakening. After the heavenly stairway competition and the heaven-opening realm's sound transmissions could not be hidden from him, Lin Shun, the altar cannot collapse? I think I heard something good. A deranged smile appeared on Lin Fan's face as he equipped the 4-piece God of War set, upon which the might of a God of War capable of destroying countless worlds erupted into the heavens. Lin Shen's pure strength instantly soared, breaking through 300 trillion, 400 trillion, 500 trillion dragon energy. Before the 10 demon kings could react, golden light condensed into armor, and the wind from his fist transformed into a ray of divine light. Lin Shen's fist smashed into the altar. Chi! Bang! 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 The entire fiend race's great sacrificial altar was broken apart by Lin Shen's punch, flipping it into two halves. Boom! 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 The air howled, and the wind howled. With the great devil's sacrificial altar as the center, the earth veins in a radius of several 100,000 li suddenly ruptured, forming terrifying cracks that looked like giant pythons crawling through them. Demonic chi, as terrifying as an abyss, suddenly erupted from the bottom of the altar, sending Lin Shun and Lin Ping in flying. The 10 demon kings were dumbfounded. Damn it, this human brat was poisonous. It was as if he knew the devil race's plans. First, he destroyed the ancient demon venerable's coffin. Then he destroyed their great devil sacrificial altar. Stabilized the altar's energy first. The 10 demon kings had experienced many big situations. Lin Shun could not scare them. The 10 demon kings immediately stood in one direction, releasing their demonic chi to stabilize the altar's fragments, barely managing to stabilize the situation. Rumble. After stabilizing the altar for a short while, the silver-haired demon king took a step forward, his demonic chi covering the sky. The silver-haired demon king shouted, "Kill this brat. Don't let him endanger my race's plan. Leave 5 to maintain the altar. The rest, follow me. Don't let him escape." 4 demon kings immediately stood out, their demonic chi filling the entire altar. The other 5 demon kings formed seals with their hands and pressed down on the altar. The pitch-black demonic chi wrapped around the altar, completely stabilizing it. The 2 peak-level holy demon kings who had come to report immediately retreated. Dragon demon sealing. The silver-haired demon king formed seals with his hands, and the demon veins on the surface of his demon body surged with demonic chi. 3 dragon shadows appeared behind him. When the dragon shadows roared towards the sky, they erupted with boundless demonic chi, sealing the surrounding space. This was to separate Lin Shun and the others, not allowing them to approach the broken altar. The second was to completely kill Lin Shun and prevent him from escaping. Lin Shun did not panic. He looked at all the demon kings present, and then looked below the altar. Below the demon race's altar was the source of the war god attribute light. If Lin Shun wanted to obtain the attribute light of this war god component, he had to completely destroy the altar. 10 peak holy demon kings comparable to the heaven-opening realm. This will be a tough battle. My rune energy is only at 462 million. Against Sacred Heart Realm experts, I can completely suppress them, but against heaven-opening realm experts, that's not necessarily the case. Let's go all out. Lin Chen's fighting spirit sword. He controlled the holy dragon to sweep its tail. Furious waves surged as he activated instant light doppelganger. 5 extreme prison heavenly prisons descended. What the hell is this? This brat actually has a dragon as a helper. Be careful. The 4 demon kings were obstructed. They transformed into their demon forms and fought fiercely against the extreme hell heavenly prison that was coming at them. With the strength of the holy dragon's dragon bloodline, the transcendent divine ability, extreme prison heavenly prisons was extremely powerful. It could trap and even injure Sacred Heart Realm experts. Even heaven-opening realm experts might not be able to break through it immediately. After delaying the 4 demon kings, Lin Shen remained calm and smiled at Lin Ping. Ping in, it's your turn to perform. This time, you can release 90% of your strength and defeat them all. Lin Ping and was overjoyed. 90%? Wow, then I'll have to reward you after this. Lin Shen smiled and nodded. No problem. After robbing many dragon race monsters, Lin Shun had obtained quite a few spirit plants. Even if Lin Ping and ran out of mid-grade spirit plants, he would be able to immediately replenish them. The reason why Lin Ping and the Holy Dragon were able to withstand the silver-haired Demon King's attacks was largely because the slowing rune had weakened his attacks. In a one-on-one battle, Lin Ping and had to use even more strength than when he annihilated the demons that day. Human, trash like this can't stop me. Gee, rip. One of the extreme heavenly prisons was torn apart. The silver-haired demon king stepped on a majestic demonic wave and tore with one hand, and a demonic hand that covered the sky came crashing down. Lin Ping and gently tapped the mark between her eyebrows with her fingertips, and she floated up. Her eyes turned purple-black and filled with the aura of death. The aura of disaster around her body roared like clouds and dragons. You don't have the right to touch him. Lin Ping and pulled with her slender hand and tore apart the demonic chi palm in the sky. She's the pain calamity. She's much stronger than the intelligence report. The silver-haired demon king narrowed his eyes. Even he had to be careful of such a ferocious being like the pain calamity. The next moment, Lin Shun suddenly shouted coldly, "War God set, activate." Buzz! The golden light of the war god exploded from Lin Chen's body. 4 top-tier holy demon kings can't stop me. Lin Shun. Lin Shun, who was bathed in golden light, smiled coldly, and his domineering aura surged. This was the first time he had activated all 4 pieces of the war god set. Chapter 1455. If the fiendish aura of the demon race was as sharp as a blade, then the calamity energy of the painful calamity was more like a saw. As long as one was cut, their flesh would be torn apart. Lin Ping An's petite body flashed, and he attacked like a shooting star. The silver-haired demon king immediately met him head-on. Boom! Chi! Bang! 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 The two of them clashed, their might shocking the heavens and the earth. What was even more terrifying was that their attacks were not very powerful, but each attack could cause terrifying explosions in space. Spatial shift was a special battle technique that could only be used by those who had reached the heaven opening realm. It allowed the user's every attack to concentrate on a certain area. Although the power seemed to be weakened, it could actually greatly increase the damage. This was also why the attacks of those of the Saint Heart realm could destroy the heavens and earth, while those at the heaven-opening realm could only feel ordinary. It was because the latter's battle techniques and attacks were more advanced. Wong, rumble. The Saint Dragon coiled, and golden light filled the sky, releasing the invincible might of the war god. Lin Chun stepped forward. Chi, bang. The entire southernmost region of the demon race's battlefield trembled. This is divine might. How strange. This king has never seen such divine might before. It's completely different from the human gods. That human actually managed to kill his way into the altar. Should we go over and help? Don't act rashly. Back then, the 10 lords personally instructed that without their orders, no one is to approach the altar. Groups of high-level Saint Demon Kings and a small number of top-level Saint Demon Kings stood far away from the altar. The altar was related to the future of the demon race's battlefield, and it was also related to the secrets of the Great War of the 9 races. Back then, they had been given a death order. Anyone who approached without permission would die. 550 trillion dragon power, 650 trillion dragon power, 800 trillion dragon power. Lin Chen's pure strength sword. It rose to a height that even he could not imagine. In the end, it stopped at 899 trillion dragon power. This was the limit that his flesh shell, holy body could bear at this stage. This is my current limit, 899 trillion dragon power. Compared to my original body's pure strength, it has increased by nearly 30 times. Lin Chen's breath swept past like a hurricane, sweeping away the clouds. His eyes contained millions upon millions of golden divine radiance. With a single glance, divine light crushed past and opened up the heavens. Lin Chen's entire body was flowing with golden light, making him look like a god of war who had descended to the mortal world. His battle prowess was invincible. I wonder if this power can kill a heaven-opening cultivator without the innate talent of a heaven-defying cultivator. Lin Shen was filled with pride and arrogance. He swept his gaze across and locked onto the four demon kings. The four demon kings' pupils couldn't help but shrink. This power was even stronger than theirs by a notch. Lin Shen stomped his foot and turned into a beam of light that shot towards a green-eyed old man in the extreme prison, heavenly prison, at an extreme speed. He didn't need any movement techniques at all. His pure strength was his most terrifying speed. Boom! Lin Shen raised his hand and clenched it into a fist. A vortex of air formed around him. In the center of the vortex was the fist of the war god that Lin Shen had retracted to his dantian. Lin Shen's fist met the green-eyed demon king head-on. Hidden demon heart, devouring claw. The green-eyed demon king tore horizontally. One fist and one claw met head-on. Chi! Bang! A small-scale explosion occurred between the man and the demon, but it also blasted a hole in the extreme prison, heavenly prison. Puffed. Blood flowed from the corner of the green-eyed demon king's mouth. Its demon body cracked, and spiderweb-like cracks appeared on its scales. Before the green-eyed demon king could recover, it discovered to its horror that its injuries couldn't be healed and were continuing to expand. System, super chaos. Lin Shen roared in his heart. The green-eyed demon king's body became abnormal again, and its chi and blood became chaotic. Right on the heels of that, another slow rune exploded on its head. In addition, Lin Shen's body spun at an extreme speed. The divine battle greaves emitted a blinding golden light that resembled a golden whirlwind. Lin Shen swept out a kick that landed right on the back of his opponent. Boom! Lin Shen sent the green-eyed demon king flying with a kick and continued his attack. Consumed 19. 8 million advanced talent points. Orange talent. Annihilation, super chaos. Successful activation. Number of activations, 11. Target. 4. The stronger the enemy, the more terrifying the consumption of talent points. This consumption had consumed 2% of Lin Shen's total talent points. Oh no, is OL Fiend injured? Damn it, this human brat is a little wild. Something's wrong. My demon body is a little chaotic. The other 3 demon kings had their own abnormalities. They persisted in unleashing their killer moves and charged out of the extreme prison, heavenly prison's restraints to attack Lin Shen. When they were in the extreme prison, heavenly prison, the 4 demon kings had been disturbed by the dragon breath attacks many times, triggering the super chaos talent many times. Lin Shen's fists were like dragons as he rapidly punched the green-eyed demon king, leaving behind afterimages as he attacked. The green-eyed demon king attempted to resist, but it was shattered and beaten back by Lin Shen's attacks time and time again. Consecutive punches, knee strikes, elbow strikes, whip kicks, etc. Lin Shen's melee attacks could be said to be crazy. He was like a gale of lightning, truly 1,000 strikes in an instant. In just a breath's time, he had unleashed over 1,000 melee attacks. Every single one of his attacks contained over 850 trillion dragon power points worth of destructive power. Even when the 3 demon kings arrived as reinforcements, he wasn't afraid. He targeted the green-eyed demon king and unleashed a barrage of attacks. When the 3 demon kings attempted to disrupt his attacks, Lin Shen maintained the slow rune the entire time. He couldn't stop at all. The first attack was the slow rune with over 10,000 points of top-grade rune energy. Boom! 5 heavenly dragon claws slashed down and hit 2 demon kings, causing them to retreat. The holy dragon danced in the air, its dragon roar shaking the heavens and earth. Lin Shen's holy dragon was also cooperating with Lin Shen's attacks. 2 demon kings attempted to break through the holy dragon's attacks, but they were shocked to find that the dragon's attacks couldn't heal them. The wounds would slowly expand. It was a slow killing machine. The holy dragon's attacks also had the effect of the extermination talent. It couldn't be underestimated at all. Once hit, the injuries wouldn't stop. It wasn't over yet. Lin Shen's shoulders shook, and 6 illusionary doppelgangers appeared with grade 7 sacred artifacts in their hands. Clang! One doppelganger slashed out with God's tears, and the other doppelgangers followed up with the lotus dance. Lotus saber shadows covered the sky, and saber energy fragments rained down like rain. An arrow pierced through heaven and earth, and a sword's starlight lasted for billions of years. The sky was filled with dazzling attacks. Another demon king's reinforcements were disrupted. The 7 people and 1 dragon had a tacit understanding of each other. They fought with the 4 demon kings in the sky alone, turning the sky and earth upside down. Down in the sky, the 5 demon kings who were maintaining and repairing the broken demon altar were dumbfounded when they saw this scene. This Lin Shun was 2F* king strong, blocking 4 great demon kings by himself. Most importantly, from their experience, Lin Shen's pure strength could only suppress the 4 demon kings at most. His holy dragon was also some distance away from the heaven opening realm. If he wanted to rely on his own strength to suppress the 4 demon kings, there was obviously a huge gap between them. It was basically impossible. Chapter 1456. The cultivation of the Saint Realm was mainly divided into several levels. The 7th layer of the Receiving Star Realm would gather all their saint power into a new saint point and condense it into the size of a planet. A Receiving Star Realm cultivator could increase their saint power by 0.2 times by opening a saint point. If converted to dragon power, opening 10 saint points would increase their saint power by 2 times. A Receiving Star Realm cultivator could control 3 times the power of a Life and Death Realm cultivator. For example, if a monster rank cultivator expanded his saint power by 250 times and condensed his saint power by 50 times, he could control 37 trillion dragon power by the time he reached Life and Death Realm. If this monster could advance to the peak of the Nashing Realm and open 70 saint acupoints, the foundation of saint power that he could control would be around 112 trillion dragon power. However, a foundation was a foundation, and a real battle was a real battle. They couldn't be mixed together. Moreover, not all Receiving Star Realm cultivators had the talent of a monster rank cultivator. If a super genius on the monster ranking had a basic holy power of 112 trillion dragon power points when he was in the complete Life and Death Realm, he would have a high chance of winning against a complete Star Realm cultivator with the same basic holy power. Just as Life and Death Realm cultivators had the advantage of increasing their saint body's recovery ability, Receiving Star Realm cultivators had the advantage of increasing their saint power's explosive power. Saint points were as majestic as planets, and their explosive power would far exceed the saint power's basic saint power. In the Saint Heart Realm, every saint point opened could increase one's saint power by 0.1 times. If converted to dragon power, opening 10 saint points would increase one's saint power by 1 times. Using the monster rank cultivator's example, reaching Life and Death Realm meant reaching Life and Death Realm with 225 trillion dragon power. However, Saint Heart Realm cultivators were all at the top of the monster rank, and some are even at the top. Therefore, most Saint Heart Realm cultivators had to surpass the minimum threshold of 225 trillion dragon power. The Saint Heart Realm's strongest advantage was opening 10 saint points. As long as the Saint Heart was not destroyed, the saint would not die. However, it was different for Heaven Opening Realm cultivators. Opening 1 saint point would increase their saint power by 400 trillion dragon power. As for how much saint power they could open, it depended on the saint's previous accumulation to determine whether they could open more saint point spaces to accommodate more saint power. After Lin Shun used the 4-piece God of War set, the limit of the increase was 899 trillion dragon power. He was slightly stronger than most heaven-opening experts who had opened 81 saint apertures, but he was still much weaker than those who had opened 82 saint apertures. However, Lin Shun still had many killer moves. It was these killer moves combined with his four-piece war god set that allowed him to achieve this unprecedented feat of 1 versus 4. In this battle, they couldn't fight head-on with the other party. If they did that, they would be exhausted to death. They had to pick a target to fight. He had to defeat them one by one. Lin Shen's 6 clones stopped one of the Fiend Kings at the cost of their lives. The Holy Dragon, on the other hand, stalled the other 2 Fiend Kings with many transcendent techniques, together with the Slowing Rune and Super Chaos. Boom! In the air, Lin Shen's fist struck the green-eyed Demon King's head, followed by a whipping kick that slashed across its waist. When the green-eyed Demon King was sent flying, Lin Shen chased after him like a madman and punched dozens of times at the vital points of the Demon King's upper body. TSK. Bang! 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 Lin Shen struck 1,000 times in an instant, and in less than 50 breaths, he finally heavily injured the green-eyed Demon King, who was vomiting blood. Attribute light balls fell all over the sky. Soon, I'll hit it again, and this old guy will definitely die. I'll continue to worsen its injuries. Lin Shen made up his mind. He wasn't even in a hurry to put away the attribute light balls. He rushed up and chased after the Demon King. This was the terrifying part of Annihilation Wound. Lin Shen's Annihilation Rupture Wound, after leveling up, caused the injuries to snowball. It could be said that Lin Shen's Annihilation Rupture Wound could completely suppress all saints and saints. Damn it, human brat. You forced me to do this. The green-eyed Demon King was so angry that it vomited blood and roared. Demonic chi surged all over its body, flashing and expanding rapidly like a star core, and its energy rose rapidly. Old fiend, damn it, this brat forced me to self-destruct. Although I won't die after self-destructing, my cultivation will be destroyed. The 3 Demon Kings sighed inwardly and instantly retreated. Even the silver-haired Demon King couldn't help but stop midway and retreat with Lin Ping in. The self-destruction of a peak Saint Demon King comparable to a heaven-opening realm expert would be destructive. If he was caught in the explosion at close range, he would probably be heavily injured or even on the verge of death. The green-eyed Demon King was also forced into a dead end. Lin Shen had too many tricks up his sleeve. It could be said that he was dazzled, and he couldn't guard against it. Super Chaos affected his battle strength. Slow Rune interrupted his attacks, and Annihilation Wound worsened his injuries. With all 3, it would be hard for him not to die. However, the scene that all the Demon Kings expected did not appear. In the next instant, their scalps went numb. Facing the rapidly expanding green-eyed Demon King that was about to self-destruct, Lin Shen didn't retreat. Instead, he charged forward. Are UF** King crazy? The Demon Kings were dumbfounded. They saw Lin Shen's palm strike the green-eyed Demon King's chest. When his palm touched the Demon King's body, Lin Shen's lips curled upwards, causing the green-eyed Demon King's pupils to shrink. He smelled the scent of scheme. Lin Shen shouted coldly, "Transcendent space-time!" Wong! A green light flashed, and the green-eyed Demon King disappeared. It wasn't over yet. After Lin Shen activated his chrono transcendence talent, in the time it took for a spark to fly off a piece of flint, he suddenly clenched his fist and let out another roar. Transcendence teleportation. Whoosh! A purple light descended, and the green-eyed Demon King's body that was about to self-destruct was teleported by Lin Shen to the demon race's great altar. What? All the Demon Kings were shocked. Chi! Boom! An unprecedentedly large explosion swept up. The energy storm spread for 1,000 li, 10,000 li, 100,000 li. It filled the sky and filled the sky. Then, it tore the silver-haired Demon King's demonic chi barrier in half. Some of the remaining 9 Demon Kings were sent flying, some were injured, and some were sent spiraling into the sky. But more importantly, the demon race's great altar was completely blown to pieces. Success! Ha ha ha! Transcendent space-time is rarely used against Sacred Heart experts. Once experts above Sacred Heart experts seal the space, transcendent spacetime is almost useless. Although transcendent spacetime couldn't be used when experts above Sacred Heart experts sealed the space, it could be used in transcendent spacetime. Lin Shen's transcendent spacetime could suck the enemy into his transcendent spacetime dimension, but the higher the opponent's cultivation, the higher the probability of failure. Lin Shen took advantage of the moment when the green-eyed Demon King was unprepared and activated his transcendence spacetime dimension. The success rate was almost 100% and sucked the green-eyed Demon King into the transcendence spacetime dimension. Then, he threw it out from the transcendent spacetime dimension using the transcendent spacetime dimension, which was equivalent to throwing a super bomb on the demon race's great altar. It couldn't be helped. After all, both humans and demons found it hard to imagine that a lunatic like Lin Shan would fly toward a self-destructing sacred demon king. This wasn't a suicidal act. It was equivalent to an ordinary person lighting a firecracker at the last moment. Who would suddenly rush up and grab the firecracker at the last moment? Wasn't this the behavior of a lunatic? The demon race's great altar has exploded. It's now. Lin Shen's heartbeat quietly quickened. The fifth piece of his Aries set was right in front of him. Chapter 1457. Lin Shen absorbed the holy dragon and his doppelganger into his body and used pure energy to form a dragon force domain to protect himself. After confirming that Lin Ping and was fine, he stared at the blooming demonic chi storm, which continued to wreak havoc. The self-destruction of a holy demon king comparable to a heaven-opening realm expert was naturally destructive, and it could easily kill dozens of people. Those devils who tried to approach the altar were instantly annihilated into pieces when they were affected by this energy. Even the demon venerable in the ancient coffin had a few holes in it. However, Lin Shen did not regret it. He tried to use the decomposition function to decompose the demon venerable's remains, but the attribute points he obtained were barely satisfactory. Furthermore, it required 5,000 high-grade Heaven's Path points to decompose at once. Lin Shen only had 40,000 high-grade Heaven's Path points left. Decomposing 7 or 8 demon venerable corpses would use up all his wealth. The Heaven's Path points had many uses, and he could not bear to waste them here. The attribute points dropped by the demons were mainly talent points, strengthening points, and high-grade chi and blood. Although Lin Shen lacked these attributes, they were not as important as the awakening function brought by the Heaven's Path points. The energy has dissipated. Lin Shen stepped on the air and rushed into the storm, then entered the deepest part of the altar. The demonic chi underground was as boundless as the sea. If it was an ordinary star receiving realm sage, they would have been directly crushed by the demonic chi. Open for me. Lin Shen forcefully punched through the demonic chi, causing the demonic chi to churn and churn. After 10,000 feet, he finally saw the source of the attribute light. Within the attribute light pillar, a dazzling golden attribute treasure chest floated. When Lin Shen's fingertip touched it, the attribute light disappeared and entered Lin Shen's body. Host, open the War God Set attribute treasure chest. Obtained. War God Set main piece, armor blueprint. The blueprint for the Aries armor? Lin Shen was ecstatic. The armor was the core of the War God Set. If the armor was included, Lin Shen had obtained 5 pieces of the War God Set. Only the last piece of armor was left. According to the system, the complete Aries set can at least give the host the power of a true god. Lin Shen was excited, but he didn't have the time to carefully look at the materials used to forge the armor. The 9 demon kings outside had completely flipped over the sky, their anger overflowing to the heavens. Roar! Countless years of painstaking effort. Just one more step. Just one more step. We will be able to summon Lord Demon Lord, and we are only one step away from unlocking the secrets of the battlefield of the 9 clans. F***CKUI. How dare you destroy my clan's altar? Human brat. Today you will die without a burial place. Very good. Today either you die or I die. Human bastard, this king will make you beg for death. All the primordial giant demons were enraged. So many years of accumulation had all gone down the drain. It was like waiting for 10,000 years to enter the bridal chamber, but suddenly someone blew up the bridal chamber. What was there left to do? Whoosh! Lin Shun rushed outside and stood next to Lin Ping, and around him were 9 completely crazed primordial giant demons, each occupying an area. Their monstrous demonic aura was like a wave that could destroy the world, drowning out the surroundings. If an ordinary aperture expansion realm cultivator stood here, they probably wouldn't even be able to withstand this demonic aura. Facing 9 crazed primordial giant demons in a row, even a heaven-opening realm cultivator would be in danger. It was rare for Lin Ping and to lose his usual playfulness. He said seriously, "Lin Shun, why don't I?" Lin Shun frowned and said, "Don't mess around. You can't release all of the disaster aura." Lin Ping and smiled. "It's fine. I'm already used to it. Even if you're used to pain, you can't do this. You promised me that you would be obedient." Lin Shun directly interrupted her. Looking into Lin Chen's eyes, Lin Ping and lowered her head and nodded. "Moreover, if I wasn't confident, how would I dare to challenge these guys? It's time to try out a new move." Lin Shun smiled wickedly, and with a thought, he released the holy dragon again. Rumble! The 9 demon kings attacked together, and the heavens and earth were overturned. Even the spatial crystal walls of the battlefield of the 9 races trembled violently, as if the world was about to be destroyed. Pung! 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 The sky exploded continuously, and the extreme south of the demon race battlefield was constantly exploding. The peak holy demon kings who wanted to watch the battle were forced to retreat again and again. This was a chaotic battle between heaven-opening realms. Those Soul Star realm high-level holy demon kings were in mortal danger even if they tried to help. Apart from those with Sacred Heart realm cultivation, there was almost no room for them to interfere. Wong, Wong, Wong. Divine light illuminated the world. An array of divine light descended from the heavens towards the demon race's altar. What is that? This is the first time this king has seen such a powerful bloodline pressure. Is it caused by that human? It doesn't seem like it. It's the bloodline pressure of the dragon race. All the holy demon kings were shocked. The 9 primordial demon kings narrowed their eyes and stared in Lin Chen's direction. They felt an extraordinary dragon's might. When the smoke dissipated, a majestic dragon shadow coiled in the air. It was Lin Chen's holy dragon. However, his holy dragon did not appear in the form of a human this time, but its true form. Its dragon body was endless, and it was hundreds of miles long. It had the head of a qilin, the tail of a carp, the red horns of a deer, and a golden beard. Its wings drooped down like clouds, and its dragon scales were pure gold. Its golden dragon claws were as huge as meteors, covering the heavens and earth. Its dragon body was filled with the nobility of dominating all living beings. Its divine might suppress the ages, and it was invincible. When the holy dragon opened its eyes, it was daytime. When it closed its eyes, it was as if the heavens and earth had fallen into eternal darkness. It was as if the holy dragon of the primordial era had personally descended, dominating the 9 heavens and 10 lands. The 9 primordial demon kings were shocked. They were completely stunned by this scene. The might of the holy dragon. Perhaps it was not a true holy dragon, but this divine might was undoubtedly at the level of a pure descendant of the holy dragon. It was Lin Chen's holy dragon true form. After receiving the golden-haired little girl's blood essence, Lin Chen's ancient Taishi dragon bloodline had increased to 5 billion points. He had become the leader of all bloodlines in one leap. When he revealed his true form, the ancient Taishi dragon's characteristics would be the main body. The ancient skyscraping dragon, Yin-Yang creation dragon, and extreme hell water dragon's characteristics would only occupy a very small portion. At this moment, A red divine light circled around the holy dragon like a rapidly spinning star ring, protecting Lin Shun and Lin Pingyan, as expected of an unparalleled ability. It didn't disappoint me. Lin Shun sized up his holy dragon with satisfaction. To be precise, it should be called a descendant of the holy dragon now. The star ring red light circling Lin Shun and Lin Ping, and was the ancient Taishi dragon's bloodline ability that the holy dragon controlled. Taishi Divine Light. Divine Light was one of the abilities that only gods could control. The descendant of the holy dragon used the power of his bloodline to perfectly reproduce it. Although it was not as powerful and perfect as a true god, it could be used at the most basic level. For example, when the Taishi Divine Light protected the body's defense was almost in a state of absolute defense. As long as the dragon bloodline's power was not exhausted, ordinary heaven-opening realm cultivators would not be able to break through the defense while the Taishi Divine Light was maintained. That's right, the true, absolute defense of a first refinement saint. Under the protection of the Taishi Divine Light, Lin Shun rubbed his palms and grinned. If I beat up 9 primordial demon kings, it should be very satisfying for my acupoint condensation stage accumulation, right? Chapter 1458. What kind of move is this? Don't worry about it. No matter how strong this dragon is, it will be exhausted one day. As long as we don't let it escape, we'll be like a bird in a cage. The silver-haired demon king said ruthlessly, "If we let this little brat escape today, we will be nailed to the pillar of shame of the demon race and never be able to rise again. Keep him here and use the heaven's net demon venerable great technique." The other 8 demon kings had solemn expressions, but they couldn't care too much. If they didn't take down Lin Shun, they wouldn't be able to explain themselves. All the demon kings bit the tip of their tongues and spat out a mouthful of blood essence into their palms. As they chanted, the wind and clouds changed in an instant. Heaven's net demon venerable great technique. Chi. Streams of demonic chi intertwined like an inescapable net, instantly enveloping the space within a radius of 1,000,000 li. It was like a huge net that firmly locked down the space here. Unless a heaven-opening realm middle-stage powerhouse personally attacked, the space enveloped by the heaven's net demon venerable great technique couldn't be broken. The 9 demon kings were determined to fight Lin Shun to the death. They had already viewed this battle as a battle to the death. At this moment, the mountain of gold Saint Origin coins in Lin Shen's Providence plant pouch burned rapidly to replenish the holy dragon's consumption. The holy dragon opened its mouth and spat out a pure gold Taishi divine light that turned into a ring of stars, instantly enveloping Lin Shun and Lin Pingyan. That's right, this was also a part of the bloodline ability. The Taishi divine light could be used on other living beings. As long as the divine light didn't dissipate, the protected target would be in a state of absolute defense. A battle of attrition? Your big brother Chun is never afraid. Isn't it just a competition to see who can last longer? Who's afraid of who? Lin Shin smiled wickedly. He stomped his foot and activated his shocking godly power. In an instant, golden light flashed, and his fist turned into a divine radiance. The expression of the beautiful woman in the jade green dress changed slightly. She slapped out with her slender hand, and a punch and a palm exploded in the air. "I'll help you. Don't let this brat succeed. 4 of us chop him up." For chop him up, another 3 demon kings surged over with surging demonic chi. Lin Shun lashed out with a whip kick, causing the demonic chi within 1,000 miles to explode, knocking down the 3 demon kings with one kick. His backhand punches rained down like a violent storm. Bang! 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 Lin Shun attacked fiercely all the way. He wasn't afraid of the opponent's counterattack at all. The situation of the battle was like exchanging a life for a life. However, in less than 20 breaths of time, the 4 demon kings were on the verge of vomiting blood. This human brat was too tough. No matter what kind of bloodline skills or techniques they used, they couldn't break the Taishi divine light on him. This was a genuine absolute defense. The power of the divine light spanned across the heavens and earth, and they were unable to break through it. Although the four demon kings were able to gain the upper hand by working together, and even occasionally suppressed Lin Shun, they couldn't beat him. This brat was so tough that his scalp felt numb. On the other hand, Lin Shun, because of the existence of absolute defense, almost all of his attacks were to the extreme. He didn't need to be afraid of the opponent's counterattack at all. If Lin Shun was only a body-refining sage with 899 trillion dragon power, the four demon kings wouldn't need to be so wary of him. The problem was that this brat's techniques were too strange. As long as they were injured by him, their wounds would become bigger and bigger, and it was equivalent to a slow death. That's right, Lin Shun could take 100, 1,000, or even 10,000 blows. But as long as they took a punch or a blow from Lin Shun, they would be in trouble. The other five demon kings were facing the Sheng Long and Lin Ping, and respectively, and a similar scene was playing out on them. The 9 demon kings were completely caught in an unprecedented tug-of-war of attrition. They were betting that Lin Chen's Taishi Divine Light wouldn't last until the end. Lin Shun, on the other hand, wanted to use the super chaos and slowing runes to create as many opportunities as possible while the Taishi Divine Light lasted for as long as possible, so that he could hit all the demon kings with annihilation. Here's another surprise for all of you. Lin Shun waved one hand, and another demon lord's coffin appeared in the void. He then kicked at it. Whoosh! The demon lord's ancient coffin shot out like a shooting star, and the four demon kings felt their scalps tingle. Indeed, they wouldn't be hurt by the demon lord's power, but the demon lord's power was not to be underestimated. If they got too close to it, they would be severely affected. For example, their demonic chi would be suppressed by a higher-level demonic chi, and their consciousness would be restricted. Just as the four demon kings were about to dodge, a grayish-white talisman fell from the sky, and the slowing runes exploded. The moment their bodies slowed down, 2 demon kings were hit by the coffin. Whoosh! Lin Shun dashed over like a flash of light. One demon lord, one demon lord, one demon lord. The annihilation talent was successfully activated. On the other side, wow, this is so magical. Seeing that she was covered in a reddish-gold halo, Lin Ping, and was very playful. She activated her calamity energy and closed in on the silver-haired demon king again and again. She endured the other party's attacks head-on, and with a few pokes of her fingertips, needle-like poisonous light pierced through the silver-haired demon king. The silver-haired demon king was beaten into submission and was forced to retreat. The silver-haired demon king was the most aggrieved. Although he was the strongest, he was facing Lin Ping, and the calamity energy of the calamity of pain was hard to defend against. Coupled with absolute defense, he was being beaten until his scalp tingled. If it were not for the help of the 2 demon kings, he might have already been infected by the calamity energy. Just as the demon race's battlefield was about to turn upside down, the sky darkened and the earth darkened. Heavenly Sanctuary, Crouching Dragon City, 3 Pristine's Palace. All the rank, 8 powerhouses were gathered together, looking at the empty, crouching Dragon City Square with anticipation. Today was the day that the battlefield of the 9 races was closed. It was also the day that all the monsters would return. The casualties this time are better than the previous years. Yes, although 9 people died, at least the main force is still alive. The only ones who died are those from the Divine Flame Palace. Strange, 4 of them died. I guess it has something to do with that daring kid. There's nothing in this world that he doesn't dare to do. The powerhouses discussed as they looked at the Crimson Sun Square. There were no civilians in the Crimson Sun Square of Crouching Dragon City. They had all been evacuated to the south of the city, hundreds of thousands of miles away. Near the Crimson Sun Square, a powerful spatial barrier was set up. The reason was simple. Every time the battlefield of the 9 races closed, the humans who participated in it would always bring back some strange items. When the energy of the battlefield of the 9 races brought people away, it would also take in the items and living beings around them. Therefore, in the past, there were some monsters who would bring back some rare treasures and even some exotic beasts when they were teleported back. Therefore, it was important to evacuate the civilians. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, a spatial vortex tens of thousands of feet wide appeared in the sky. Inside the vortex, beams of light descended. All the monsters had returned. When they stepped into the Crimson Sun Square, their expressions were very interesting. Some were in high spirits, some were filled with killing intent, and some looked as if they had been reborn. Some were overjoyed, some were in high spirits, some were worried, some sighed regretfully, and some even brought back a piece of century glacial ice essence when they were teleported back. This made the monsters who were traveling with them ecstatic. The battlefield of the 9 races was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Once they were teleported back, it meant that everything was over. The grade 8 forces all looked for their disciples with different expressions. Yes, it seems like there are quite a few people who have gained quite a lot. Those who are still alive will definitely become the pillars of the human race. Zue Lao Wang smiled in satisfaction. However, his expression suddenly changed. It seemed like someone was missing. That's right. The most unique guy, Lin Shun, was missing. Rumble. At this moment, the spatial vortex in the sky trembled violently. The weather changed, and all the monsters were treated in shock. What's going on? Zue Lao Wang and the other heaven-opening powerhouses who were hosting the Stairway Heaven competition actually caught a trace of demonic chi. All the forces were shocked. Even the grade 8 powerhouses had never seen such a situation. The teleportation channel of the battlefield of the 9 races was unstable. Zue Lao Wang and the other two instantly flashed to the Crimson Sun Plaza. The next moment, the vortex exploded. Bang! With a loud bang, all the Sacred Heart powerhouses looked through the void at once. When the vortex exploded, the silver-robed figure appeared out of thin air. The young man's body was surrounded by divine light. The golden light illuminated the world, and he looked like a god of war who had descended to the mortal world. Before everyone could exclaim in surprise, their expressions changed drastically. Rumble. Bang. He threw a punch, and it tore the sky apart. A figure with demonic chi was sent flying thousands of miles away by his punch. The chaotic battle in the sky erupted again. The 8 demons, 2 humans, and 1 dragon fought so fiercely that time and space turned upside down. Come on, let's see who can last longer. With a young man's arrogant laughter echoed in Hidden Dragon City. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. A peak demon king. What the F***CK is going on? All the grade 8 powerhouses were dumbfounded. Below the Crimson Sun Plaza, the monstrous prodigies who were in high spirits a moment ago almost peed their pants from the terrifying demonic aura that filled the sky. Even someone as strong as Zue Lao, one could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. Are you King kidding me? This Lin Shun brought back a peak demon king. And there were 9 of them. 9 of them. All of them were at the level of a heaven-opening powerhouse. What was going on? Moreover, it looked like they were King beaten out. Crazy. He must be crazy. What was going on? Chapter 1459. Cavern Expansion Realm, Opening Heaven Realm. Are you King writing a novel? Divine dragon suppression? Oh my god, could it be that Lin Shun is rearing a divine dragon's descendant? Why do you care what he's writing? Hurry up and retreat. They're attacking us. I'm not dreaming, am I? Crazy. This world has gone crazy. The entire Wolong City, whether it was the monstrous geniuses, rank 8 experts, or the various factions, were all in an uproar. There was too much information. What a joke. What kind of concept was a peak Saint Demon King? It was an absolute existence above peak Saint Demon Kings, second only to demon sovereigns. It was at the peak of the demon race's pyramid. Every peak Saint Demon King was a famous monster in the demon race since the beginning of the human race's sacred boundary. Their battle prowess was equivalent to the human race's heaven-opening realm, and their hands were stained with the blood of countless saints. Every peak Saint Demon King in history was a bloody battle for the human race. Even an ordinary 8-stage Almighty was only at the Saint Heart realm. Ordinary Grade 8 forces might have heaven-opening realm experts, but they definitely weren't at the level where they could be easily invited. They were basically the highest level of power a Grade 8 force could muster, and when they moved out, it would be a matter of life and death for that force. And Lin Shun, a cavern expansion realm expert, was actually able to exchange blows with a peak Saint Demon King. At that moment, many people even thought that this was an illusion. What's more, there were 9 of them, not to mention the monstrous geniuses ranking. Even Zue, Lao Wang, and the others could not believe this ridiculous scene. Not just Wulong City, but more than half of the heaven-opening realm experts in the entire Sky Sanctuary opened their eyes and were dumbfounded. 1, 2, 3, 9? 9 peak Saint Demon Kings dare to step into the human race's Sky Sanctuary. Some heaven-opening realm experts were shocked, while others were enraged. How dare they? When did the demon race become so ridiculous, daring to attack the human race's Sky Sanctuary? Real name system, you want to die? This old man will grant you your wish. Big brother, call for help. Go to Wulong City and kill these Saint Demon Kings. Let's go. Bring the holy fruit, fragrant wine, and millet congee. Let's go watch the show. The various heaven-opening realms all moved out, heading straight for Wulong City. In an instant, a terrifying earthquake shook the entire region, with Wulong City as the epicenter. The 100,000 Dragon City was in an uproar. Yeah, I was teleported back? Lin Shen reacted in a flash. While the various factions in Wulong City were still in a state of shock, he sent a message to Lin Ping'an. Ping'an, come back. Retract all of your aura and leave the rest to me. Lin Ping'an received the voice transmission. She tapped the mark between her eyebrows and immediately suppressed the aura of disaster to the extreme. Then, she opened her cherry lips and inhaled. All of the disaster aura instantly entered her petite body. She turned into a streak of light and shot towards Lin Shun, entering Lin Shen's providence plant pouch. All of this took less than 1,000th of a breath. In the eyes of the many stunned saints, it was as if a petite figure that could fight against a peak Saint Demon King had been taken away by Lin Shun in an instant. They didn't even notice her true identity. This was because the scene of Lin Shun beating up a peak Saint Demon King was too shocking. No one wasn't shocked. In addition, the traces of painful disaster's existence had long been erased, so almost no one could recognize it immediately. After putting Lin Ping'an back into his Providence plant pouch, Lin Shen's battle intent soared. He didn't back down at all, turning into a streak of golden light and continuing to beat his way through. Of the 9 peak Saint Demon Kings, 7 of them had already been hit by his extermination split creation innate skill. Now all he needed to do was fight head-on, and fight blindly. As soon as Lin Ping'an disappeared, the pressure on the 3 peak Saint Demon Kings decreased. However, they didn't immediately attack Lin Shun. Instead, they were shocked by the change in their surroundings. It really is the human territory? Oh no! Today is the day when the humans teleport back from the battlefield. We were in seclusion for too long to stabilize the altar, so we completely forgot about this. The 3 peak Saint Demon King's expressions changed slightly. The battlefield of the 9 races maintained a limited amount of planar energy. Every time they teleported, no matter where they were, they would be forcefully teleported back. If they were in a different planar space, they might be teleported back from the same planar space. That's right. Even in their wildest dreams, they would never have imagined that the spatial enchantment created by the Heaven's Net Demon Venerable technique would pull them over. It was precisely because they wanted to trap Lin Shun in the designated area of the battlefield of the 9 races that the battlefield of the 9 races forcefully teleported them over. Lin Shun, what the hell is going on? A bald old man beside Zhe Lao Wen coldly transmitted his voice. After Lin Shun knocked back a peak Saint Demon King with a kick, he frowned and said, "What do you mean what's going on? Don't you know how to see? Fight!" Following that, Lin Shun impatiently waved his hand. "That's enough. Stop talking nonsense. I'm in a hurry to kill them. I'll fight. You guys can do whatever you want." Everyone's mouths twitched, and many 8th-stage experts were confused. You guys can do whatever you want? Do whatever you want? Do whatever you want. Not only were the geniuses on the monster genius list going crazy, but they had also gone crazy on the spot. Big shot. Do you know what you're doing? Why does it seem like it's natural for an expanse realm cultivator to fight a peak Saint Demon King? The situation isn't right. Everyone, listen up. Don't bother about that dragon. Use all your strength to kill this brat and shatter his divine light. Snatch him and run immediately. The silver-haired demon king coldly shouted. They were in the human territory's sacred boundary, which was equivalent to entering the human territory. Every second wasted meant that they might not be able to escape. They couldn't open the spatial entrance to the battlefield of the 9 races here, so they could only return to the demon territory. If they returned to the demon territory empty-handed, they would definitely die. Their only way out was to hand Lin Shun over to the higher-ups of the demon race alive. Bang! The 3 Saint Demon Kings, led by the silver-haired demon king, charged toward Lin Shun. One of the 2 peak Saint Demon Kings that the Holy Dragon was blocking also left the battlefield and charged toward Lin Shun. It seemed that they were determined to take Lin Chen's life. Whoosh! At this moment, Zue Lao Wang and the rest blocked the 3 peak Saint Demon Kings. Although they didn't know what was going on, now was not the time to cause trouble for these Saint Demon Kings. Once they lost control, countless people in Wulong City would die. Go capture him. I'll delay these 3 humans. The silver-haired demon king shouted coldly and spat out a mouthful of blood. He grabbed the blood in his palm, and his life force dropped drastically. Boundless demonic chi surged out of his palm. The demonic chi formed a barrier and instantly enveloped the 3 elders. The 3 elders were instantly delayed. The remaining 3 demon kings and the other 4 injured peak Saint Demon Kings surrounded Lin Shun. All the Almighty's pupils shrank. Even a heaven-opening realm cultivator would be in danger of dying under the joint attack of 7 peak Saint Demon Kings. The other Almighties didn't dare to help at all. Protecting their own disciples was already the limit. Going to help? Did they not care about their own lives? Many of the Almighties watched this scene with their hearts in their mouths. If Lin Chen couldn't stop them, Wulong City would be destroyed and its people would die. Lin Chen's lips curled up. He was arrogant and evil. "Oh, you're ganging up on me? Great. Your demon venerable coffins haven't been used up yet. Arrange it." Lin Shun waved one hand, and more than 10 balls of light appeared in the sky. The demonic chi's suppression instantly covered the sky. The rank 8 Almighties who were so nervous just a moment ago were all stunned. Demon venerable suppression? Oh my God, demon venerable's coffin. However, before the crowd could recover from their shock, Lin Shun suddenly raised his leg and kicked out diagonally. Chi! Bang! 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 The demon venerable's coffins were all kicked away by Lin Shun, and they flew toward the 7 demon kings. All the Almighties felt their scalps explode, and their jaws almost dropped to the ground. Was there still law? Was there still justice? This was the first time in history that a cavern expansion realm marshal punched a peak Saint Demon King and kicked a demon venerable's coffin. Even if you want to shock the world, there should be a limit. Chapter 1460. More than a dozen demon venerable coffins shot out like shooting stars, carrying with them the might of a demon venerable, and sent the 7 demon kings flying. All the mighty figures were dumbfounded. This young man, there were only things that they couldn't think of. There was nothing he couldn't do. Kicking the demon venerable coffins like balls? What kind of F*** joke was this? Even they, who were regarded as mighty figures by the human race, would be suppressed by the demon venerable's demonic aura and find it hard to move. This kid could kick them like balls? Compared to Lin Shun, the mighty figures of the human race were nothing but a fart. He was the mighty figure. Impossible. Why would a peak demon king come to the human race's battlefield? Some of the prodigies who had just left the Scarlet Sun Plaza were shocked. Something's wrong. Something's very wrong. Although there are demons in the human race's battlefield, there's no way there would be a demon venerable coffin. Could it be? Lin Shun went to the demon race's battlefield? All the prodigies and mighty figures looked at each other as an unprecedented chill ran from the bottom of their feet to the top of their heads. The more they thought about it, the more terrifying it was. When everyone saw the 17 demon venerable coffins in the sky, they were all terrified. It couldn't be. Could it be that this kid went to the demon race's battlefield alone? What kind of concept was that? One had to know that Crouching Dragon City was filled with powerful cultivators. Even if all of them went to the demon race's battlefield, less than a third of them would be able to leave alive. He was only at the Aperture Expansion Realm. Aperture Expansion Realm. He dared to go to the demon race's battlefield alone? This wasn't something that could be described as a newborn calf that was not afraid of a tiger. This was F*** crazy. Lin Shun charging into the devil race's battlefield alone was not far from the mark. There had never been a case of a peak demon king entering the human race's territory. Not to mention, if the demon venerable coffin appeared in the human race's battlefield, it would have been discovered by the prodigies who went to the 9 races battlefield and reported to the higher-ups tomorrow. If it was a peak demon king and 1 or 2 demon venerable corpses, it would make sense. But he fought 9 and kicked 17 demon venerable coffins. Obviously, this kid must have gone to the demon race's battlefield. Is he really human? Even a madman is afraid of death. Too fierce. I don't even dare to think about it. You dare to charge into the devil race's battlefield with your aperture expansion cultivation? If he breaks through to the transformation realm and life and death realm, won't he dare to attack the sage monarch domain? I've cultivated for 100 eras, and I've never submitted to anyone but Lin Shun. In this short period of time, the amount of information that had happened was too much. Everyone was so shocked that their minds were buzzing. Yu Exine, who was being covered and retreated, lightly covered her lips with both hands. She was so shocked that her heart trembled. What he said was actually true. He really fought his way to the demon battlefield. Yu Exine suddenly thought of Yi Qingwu's words. Never try to figure him out, because no one can predict what heights he will reach. Yi Qingwu, I really envy you. On the other side, Feng Shui gazed at the young man in the void with admiration, as if she was looking at the stars in the sky. Shang Wanqin's eyes were deep, and his gaze looked further and longer. If he climbs the Divine Flame Palace in the future, what kind of scene will it be? Wu Pianju, perhaps your opponent is no longer limited to the Saint Talent list. In the sky, when the Demon Venerable's coffin repelled the 7 peak demon kings, Lin Shun followed up with another attack. Ha ha ha. Well played, beautifully played, truly F*** delightful play. Lin Shun brat, well done. Come, we'll help you too. Sword lights that spanned thousands of miles slashed over. They were actually the big shots of Sword Domain. They laughed heroically and didn't care at all. In a flash, they appeared near Lin Shun's Saint Dragon and blocked the Bloodtail Demon King, freeing the Saint Dragon to support Lin Shun. The people of Sword Domain were the first team that dared to support Lin Shun. The 4 leading Sword Domain big shots were at the peak of the Saint Heart Realm, while the remaining 7 were at the mid-stage or late stage of the Saint Heart Realm, including the 3 elders of Sword Domain. It's been a long time since I fought with the demon race. The last battle was against the ancient Green Demon King that was at the peak of the Saint Heart Realm. The 11 people from the Sword Domain surrounded the Bloodtail Devil King. The Bloodtail Devil King laughed sinisterly. You dare to fight with this king? You're courting death. The battle between the two sides instantly started. The blood-tailed Demon King fought against 11 Saint Heart Realm Sword Saints, and the combat power of a peak Saint Heart Realm Demon King was fully displayed. Lin Shun transmitted his voice across the void. "Seniors, thank you." Immediately after, the Saint Dragon rushed to Lin Chen's side. At this moment, he was surrounded by the golden Taishi divine light. One man and one dragon. He chased after the beautiful woman in green and attacked her wildly, throwing out the slowing rune. Her injuries were extremely serious, and demonic blood was gushing out from many wounds. When the demonic blood dripped onto the ground, it made a sizzling sound and corroded the buildings within a few hundred miles. If they continued fighting, she would definitely die. Save. The beautiful woman in green wanted to call for help, but two grayish-white runes exploded again. She didn't even have a chance to call for help. Lin Shen flashed behind her and punched her violently. His majestic divine power penetrated her waist, and with a bang, she was sent flying into the sky. Rip! 5 huge, heavenly azure dragon claws came and struck the beautiful woman in green's body. A mushroom cloud exploded in the sky, and a hurricane swept across the sky. "You forced me to do this, human brat." The beautiful woman in green shouted at the top of her lungs. Demonic blood flowed out of her mouth and burned fiercely. Her demonic body rose up like a sun. Hiss! The various rank. 8 mighty figures couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air as they covered their demons and retreated. Lin Shun actually forced a peak Saint Heart Realm Demon King to the point of self-destruction. One had to know that when an existence of this level self-destructed, it basically meant that they were at the end of their rope. They were going to die together. "Have you forgotten what happened just now?" Lin Shun smiled wickedly. Instead of advancing, he retreated and activated his dragon power. In a flash, his palm struck the top of her head. The beautiful woman in green's eyes narrowed the moment her demonic blood burned to the point of self-destruction. Transcendence talent. At Lin Chen's command, a green light flashed, and the beautiful woman in green disappeared instantly. What? The various peak demon kings had just stabilized themselves, and they were shocked. They felt the green scorpion demon king's aura and mark completely self-destructing and dissipating. But the scary thing was that this self-destruction actually didn't pose any threat to this human brat at all. She directly disappeared. Lin Chen's transcendence talent had a high chance of failure against high-level experts, but it was no problem at all in close range. Apart from the remaining 20 demon venerable coffins in his transcendence dimension, there was nothing else. She could self-destruct however she wanted. Another self-destruct into an elemental ball of light. Good, very good. Lin Chen's gaze turned, and the fierce glint in his eyes made the 6 peak demon kings' scalps tingle. 2 out of the 10 primordial great demons were already dead. Who was next? Lin Chen grinned like a child. Next, I'll randomly pick a lucky demon king to return to my happy old home. Chapter 1461. Far away from Hidden Dragon City. Witnessing this earth-shattering battle, the Yi and Zhao families were all dumbfounded. So much so that a wave of evil chills went straight to the top of the heads of the Yi clan elders. They felt a chill run down their spines as they secretly broke out in cold sweat. Dangerous, too damn dangerous. It seemed that their Yi family had almost been overthrown. Thinking back, when Lin Shun had come to stop the marriage between the Yi and Zhao families, what would have happened if he had gone crazy? This kid could beat up a peak stage Saint Demon King, and it was 1 against 4. He even forced a peak stage Demon King to self-destruct. What kind of concept was that? It was equivalent to having a battle strength infinitely close to the middle stage of the heaven opening realm. That day, if he had not given the Yi family face and had really fought, no one in the Yi family would have been able to stop him. The Yi family would have been overthrown by him. A heaven-opening realm battle strength was not something that could be easily invited in a grade 8 force. It was basically the highest level of battle strength. Normally, they would not be in the family or sect. This kid is not bluffing. He really does have the strength to overturn our Yi family. Fortunately, Qingwu's relationship with him is not bad. He did not touch our Yi family on account of Qingwu. Only now do the Yi family elders know that they have been jumping back and forth on the edge of death. Zhao Mingyu, who had finally recovered from his injuries, stood on top of a mountain in a daze, looking at the battle in the distance. He was dazed and his mouth was full of a self-mocking sneer. It turned out that it was really too easy for him to get rid of him. Heaven-opening realm. This was the realm that he had been chasing for his entire life. At this moment, Lin Chun was fighting with the demon race expert that he had been chasing for his entire life. He was very clear that in this life, he could only look up to this man's back. It was not that Zhao Mingyu, was too weak, but the former was too strong. The Zhao family head seemed to have thought of something, and as if he had just woken up from a dream, he immediately jumped up and said hurriedly, Quickly give the order to stop all attacks and assassinations of the Purple Cloud King Valley. Use the fastest speed to stop all assassins for me. Cold sweat trickled down his back, and the corners of his mouth trembled. Mother Vaster's cur, if we touch the Purple Cloud King Valley's people, Lin Chun, this plague god, will definitely flip my Zhao family upside down. I'm too ashamed to meet my ancestors. The Zhao family was also in an uproar, and all of their members were mobilized. They had to put away all the little tricks they had done to the Violet Cloud King Valley. One had to know that a guy who dared to charge into the Devil Race's battlefield single-handedly would be afraid of their Zhao family. If they knew that the Zhao clan had made a move against the Purple Cloud King Valley, what kind of disaster would that cause? The result was that the next time he kicked, it wouldn't be the Demon Sovereign's coffin, but the coffins of their Zhao clan's ancestors. Furthermore, the Zhao family head wasn't stupid. He clearly remembered that when Lin Chun had first appeared, there was also a mysterious little girl who could contend against a heaven-opening realm master. And it was a level that could tie with the silver-haired Demon King. Their Zhao family did not fear a heaven-opening powerhouse. He didn't fear 2 heaven-opening realms. But in the face of Lin Chun, who dared to charge into the demon race's battlefield and didn't care about his own life. Sorry, goodbye. Above the Scarlet Sun Plaza, Lin Chun was wild with joy. His ultra space-time plane was filled with a dazzling array of elemental light balls. It was simply dazzling. The self-destruction of a peak Saint Demon King had produced as many elemental light balls as Lin Chun had. Because this was the result of annihilation rupture, it wasn't an ordinary self-destruction. It was equivalent to Lin Chun killing another peak Saint Demon King, killing 2 peak Saint Demon Kings in a row. Lin Chun's battle achievements were enough to be recorded in the annals of history. If these 2 peak Saint Demon Kings started a war, who knew how many saints would fall? However, the most frightening thing was that he wasn't done yet. He still wanted to fight. Too strong. This brat forced a peak Saint Demon King to self-destruct, and then there's nothing left. Could it be that he controls some heaven-defying spatial saint artifact? But that's impossible. There's no spatial saint artifact in this world that can withstand the power of a peak Saint Demon King's self-destruction. Lin Chun's ability to transcend time and space had caused all the 8-stage almighties to feel their hair stand on end. This brat was far beyond their imagination. This was equivalent to sealing off the final path of retreat for an expert. Oh no, if this continues, we'll be exhausted to death by this brat. Do we still want to continue fighting? If we continue fighting, even if we can capture this brat, we won't be able to take him away. The 6 peak Saint Demon Kings quickly conversed. Not to mention the silver-haired Demon King forcefully blocking Zhe, Lao, Wang, and the other 2. Just Lin Chun and the dragon alone were already extremely troublesome to deal with. This brat was even more troublesome than some heaven-opening experts of the human race. If it was a heaven-opening expert of the human race, even if they couldn't beat him, They could self-destruct and either heavily injure him or kill him together. But this brat couldn't. If you self-destructed, he would use vanish. How could they fight? What made the Demon Kings tremble the most was that if they didn't self-destruct, they would die if they continued fighting. This was because their injuries couldn't be healed. If they didn't self-destruct, they would be exhausted to death. How the hell were they supposed to fight? The only possibility was that they had to hold on until his Taishi divine light passed. In the eyes of the peak Saint Demon Kings, Lin Shun was also an arrow at the end of its flight. His Taishi divine light had dimmed after the previous rounds of attacks. If they continued fighting, his Taishi divine light would definitely be broken. Once the divine light was broken, only 2 peak Saint Demon Kings would be needed to fight evenly with him. If 3 surrounded him, they would definitely take him down. But the result was also very obvious. They would all be heavily injured. Most importantly, what would happen after they took down Lin Shun? Would they be able to fight their way out of the heavenly sacred region with their heavily injured bodies? This game was full of unknowns. The 6 peak Saint Demon Kings hesitated, but Lin Shun didn't hesitate. He looked around and immediately chose the most heavily injured Demon King Tianyu. Demon King Tianyu. What are you doing? What are you doing? Holy shit, he's staring at me. He's coming. Boom. Lin Shun stood on the Saint Dragon. 1 man and 1 dragon galloped through Crouching Dragon City to fight the 6 peak Saint Demon Kings. Rumble. Below the Crimson Sun Plaza, heaven and earth were in chaos. All the buildings were destroyed. Crouching Dragon City's protective barrier was completely activated, completely isolating the area of the battle. All the saints looked at this scene in shock. They looked up at the godlike figure. If there were gods in this world, perhaps this would be the case. A sage with sharp eyes and agile hands quickly recorded this scene. Since ancient times, no human had dared to approach the battlefield of the 9 races. But today, a monstrous prodigy appeared out of nowhere and broke all the rules of the mortal world. With his expansive cavern cultivation, he charged into the battlefield of the Demon Lord, kicked the coffin of the Demon Lord, and killed a peak Saint Demon King. He was the first and perhaps the last. Enough. At this moment, a sigh filled with demonic chi reverberated through heaven and earth. The sky above Crouching Dragon City instantly darkened. Demonic chi filled the air, and the hearts of the saints were filled with worry. Another demon race descending. Chapter 1462. Rumble. At this moment, for beams of holy light shot over from the east, west, north, and south. They were the heaven-opening realm cultivators of the 100,000 Dragon City. When the 4 heaven-opening realms entered Hidden Dragon City, they didn't even have time to express their stance. Their Saint Chi pierced through the void, and when they saw the young man, Shun Long, and the 6 peak Saint Demon Kings fighting in the sky, they couldn't help but cry out in shock. An expansive realm cultivator against a descendant of a divine dragon. What's going on? What kind of joke is this? An expansive realm cultivator fighting a peak Saint Demon King? Even the heaven-opening realm cultivators couldn't help but be dumbfounded by this scene. It was like watching a baby fight against a giant, and a group of giants at that. This scene made them doubt their lives. It was unimaginable. The 4 heaven-opening realm cultivators had just arrived in Hidden Dragon City when demonic chi suddenly descended from the sky, covering the entire city and darkening the sky. The 4 heaven-opening realm cultivators' expressions changed. Enough. Why do you have to force my demon race? His voice seemed to have magical power, penetrating the hearts of every human and causing many saints to feel an instinctive fear. A sigh broke the hearts of all saints. A figure stepped out of the void. He was tall and had a pair of white, jade-like wings on his back. A vertical eye bloomed between his eyebrows, and each strand of his hair was light and nimble. His face was extremely handsome. The sorrow between his eyebrows was like a saint who pitied the world, not a demon. However, Only saints above the star-receiving realm could vaguely feel that this demon's demonic chi was like an endless prison. Once it descended, it firmly trapped the entire hidden dragon city. His hands were behind his back, and his eyes were like obsidian, deep and bright. The moment he appeared, all the battles stopped. It's him. Zue Lao Wang and the others were shocked. They had seen this demon when the Heaven Saint region was first established. Back then, when they were still in the Sacred Heart realm, this demon was called the Dragon-Devouring Demon. One demon divine ability could devour 10,000 dragons, and it was unparalleled in the world. When they were still in the Sacred Heart realm, the Dragon-Devouring Demon King was already comparable to a late-stage heaven-opening realm cultivator. Now, it was probably even stronger than back then. In the heaven-opening realm, every additional saint point would cause a drastic change. Even if everyone here was in the heaven-opening realm, they might not be its match. "My lord, you're finally here," the silver-haired Demon King shouted excitedly. At this moment, he was bleeding profusely and his injuries were quite serious. It was really difficult for him to stop the 3 heaven-opening realm masters of the Heavenly Stairway competition by himself. Earlier, during the fierce battle, he had used his devil blood to send a message to the devil race so that they could send reinforcements. It just so happened that the dragon-devouring Demon King had sneaked into the grand desolate world and was trying to devour the experts of the dragon race. When he received the order, the higher-ups sent an order for him to save them. Greetings, Your Excellency Devourer Dragon. Lord Devourer Dragon, this is the kid, Lin Shun of the human race. He's the one who messed up our clan's plan. You must seek justice for us." The 8 demon kings howled in grief. 4 figures flashed across the sky and stood beside Zhe, Lao Wang, and the others. There were 3 men and 1 woman. The woman was still charming. Her temperament was ethereal. The man was domineering. The old man was unfathomable. And Yun, he was indifferent. Their saintly might shone brightly, diluting the demonic chi in the air and alleviating some of the suffering citizens of Hidden Dragon City. "The devil race is getting bolder and bolder. How dare you attack our heavenly sanctuary? Do you want to die? Are there any experts from our 100,000 Dragon City coming here? Aren't you afraid of dying here, dragon-devouring demon?" The 4 heaven-opening realm experts scolded the dragon-devouring Demon King. The dragon-devouring Demon King flicked his fingernails and said arrogantly, "Don't try to threaten me. Apart from a small number of humans, the cowards who can threaten me are all gathered in your sage monarch domain. I can come and go as I please in your heavenly sanctuary. How dare you? Arrogant. I like to see what you're capable of." The 4 were enraged. They each attacked with a sword move, a saber move, a finger seal, and a fist seal that shook the heavens. The darkness in the sky was torn apart, and the attacks were directed at the dragon-devouring Demon King. The latter calmly waved his hand, and the 8 Demon Kings were summoned to his side. He grabbed at the void with his 5 fingers, and a dark vortex appeared and swallowed the attacks of the 4. Zue Lao Wang and the others were shocked. Sure enough, he was stronger than before. Insignificant tricks. If I didn't have a mission today, I would definitely kill you all. The dragon-devouring Demon King was extremely arrogant, and he didn't take them seriously at all. When the dragon-devouring Demon King looked at Lin Shun, he said, "Is it you, the brat who ruined my tribe's plan?" Lin Shun suddenly smiled and said, "Don't think too much. I don't know what your plan is. I'm just a handsome guy who happened to be passing by and killed 2 of you." The dragon-devouring Demon King instantly became gloomy. However, when he saw the sacred dragon beside Lin Shun, his eyes lit up. What a pure divine dragon bloodline. It's purer than any dragon I've ever eaten. The dragon-devouring Demon King stared at Lin Shun and his sacred dragon like a drunkard who had discovered 1,000-year-old wine. Rumble. An extremely powerful demonic aura enveloped Lin Shun. Lin Shun's surroundings even started to darken. The light was being devoured, and it was as if everything had fallen into despair. Lin Shan narrowed his eyes and used the Tai heaven-concealing technique to resist the demonic aura. This dragon-devouring demon king was more terrifying than any heaven-opening realm cultivator he had ever seen. It was second only to a demon lord. It might even be half a step into the demon lord realm. Interesting, this human is actually not affected by my demonic blood. The dragon-devouring demon king licked its 3-meter-long scarlet tongue and suddenly opened its bloody mouth. From 1,000 feet to 100,000 feet, 100,000 feet, 1,000,000 feet, 1,000,000 feet. In a breath's time, its huge mouth was as black as an abyss, and it actually covered half of the sky above crouching Dragon City. Zue, Lao Wang, and the other heaven-opening realm cultivators immediately launched an unprecedented attack, and one after another, they used their famous orange rank killing moves. However, when all their attacks fell into the boundless darkness, they were like mud in the sea, and there was no reaction. The dragon-devouring demon king intended to directly devour Lin Shan and his sacred dragon. Crack! 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 Lin Shan's Taishi divine light began to crack. War God Set, gather! Lin Shan instantly gathered all his strength and used absolute life and death to fight to the death. Boom! The darkness in the sky suddenly exploded, and the darkness in crouching Dragon City dissipated, and light returned. The dragon-devouring demon king's mouth split open, and blood immediately flowed out. He was actually injured. His gaze was fixed on a certain spot in the void, and there was actually fear in his eyes. Lin Shan curiously looked in the same direction. That position belonged to the white-haired old man who held the 2 little girls' hands. Old Ghost, you're also here? The dragon-devouring demon king was shocked. Chapter 1463. The white-haired old man slowly stepped into the air and smiled. Back then, I spared the lives of some of you demons. Shouldn't you spare the lives of these youngsters? Their era has just begun. All right, so it's you. I won't interfere in this matter. The dragon-devouring demonic king took a few steps back and was about to retreat. Chi! Rip! The heavenly feather demonic king beside him suddenly spurted out blood, and his wounds burst open. His demonic eyes were filled with despair and pain. After spitting out large mouthfuls of blood, he died. All the Saint Demon Kings were stunned. Then they looked at Lin Shan in shock. It was his doing. Lin Shan smiled evilly. What's wrong? Just treat it as my gift to you demons. Do you like it? If you like it, stretch your head over and I'll give you a few more. The dragon-devouring demonic king was stunned. Then his handsome face became sinister and twisted. He actually killed a peak Saint Demon King in front of him. He didn't care about the heavenly feather demonic king's life, but his dignity was trampled on by the other party. Killing a peak Saint Demon King in front of him, wasn't that not putting him, the dragon-devouring demonic king, in his eyes? Very good. Human Lin Shan, I'll remember you. In the future, all right. How many times have you demons said these words? Can't you say something new? Lin Shan whistled and joked. The dragon-devouring demonic king was so angry that his veins popped out. However, the next moment, the dragon-devouring demonic king was so angry that he almost spat out blood. Lin Shan's figure flashed, and he raised his leg to kick the demon venerables' coffins that were scattered all over the place. They were all kicked up into the air like shooting stars toward the dragon-devouring demonic king. Lin Shan clapped his hands and waved them away in disdain. All right. Stop talking nonsense. Take these unlucky things and scram. The mouths of the various heaven-opening realms and mighty figures couldn't help but twitch. This kid really wasn't afraid of anything. Facing someone like the dragon-devouring demonic king, he could even fly arrogantly. Everyone was seriously doubtful. Was there really anyone in this world that Lin Shan was afraid of? Dancing on the Holy King's grave and violently kicking the demon venerable's coffin, there was nothing in this world that he did not dare to do. Good. Very good. The human race has really given birth to a monstrous genius. When Dragon Devourer Demon King caught all the ancient coffins, He was so angry that he laughed. Lin Chan said with a smile, "You only know now? Your news is too outdated. Could it be that my reputation as a commander hasn't reached your demon race yet?" The dragon-devoured Devil King pulled the remaining 7 peak stage Devil Kings, heavenly feathered Devil King's corpse, and all the coffins of the Devil Venerables into the dark waves of Devil Chi. At this moment, an even more hoarse and ancient voice resounded from within the wave of devilish chi. "Lin Chun, I will remember this name." Everyone was shocked. Clearly, there was an even more powerful demon behind the dragon-devoured Demon King who was coveting this place. The reason why the white-haired old man acted was probably because he sensed this. However, Lin Chun was not afraid of them taking away the coffins of the Demon Venerables. These Demon Venerables' corpses had all been cut open by his flying daggers and activated destruction. When these demons were brought back, they would only receive a bunch of tattered Demon Venerables' corpses. Other than staring at them, they would not be able to do anything. "Senior, it's such a pity." Lin Chun stepped into the air and floated beside the white-haired old man. He shook his head and said, "Senior, why didn't you kill them just now? With senior strength, it should be very easy." The white-haired old man stroked his beard and laughed. "Haha, young people are indeed courageous, daring to fight. And this old man can indeed kill them. However, if these 7 peak stage Devil Kings, Dragon Devourer Demon King, and the demon behind them counterattacked before death, no one in Wulong City other than this old man would be able to survive. There are also Lin Chun's friends and lovers among them. Little friend, are you willing to?" Lin Chun was stunned. He shook his head and laughed. "Indeed, I'm not willing. Thank you, senior. I should be the one thanking you. Little friend, you killed 2 peak stage Devil Kings and made a great contribution to the human race. Just based on this, I'm sure those demon-ranking enforcers won't make things difficult for you." The white-haired old man looked at Lin Chun with admiration. "Your meridians have expanded by 30,000 times. You have the descendant of a divine dragon. This old man is looking forward to your future. I hope you can step into the Saint King prison soon and take back your love." Lin Chun was slightly taken aback. This white-haired old man seemed to have guessed his background thoroughly. However, thinking about this old man's strength and identity, this was normal. "Then I'll borrow senior's auspicious words." Lin Chun cupped his fists, and the holy dragon soared into the sky, collecting all the attribute light balls dropped by Demon King Heavenly Feather. Host has received 1 billion top stage health, 800 million top stage health, 500 strengthening points, 30,000 rune energy. Lin Chun's stats soared like crazy, especially his blood energy. It soared like it was unstoppable. It forced Lin Chun to absorb all the attribute points from the first peak stage Devil King. His clone had been madly refining a huge amount of top stage health attribute points. However, when Lin Chun removed the 4-piece War God set, he still felt exhausted. In this bloody battle, the 4-piece War God set had consumed more than 23% of its energy. In addition, his Saint Dragon had also been seriously injured. Its dragon vein had been exhausted. With the Saint Dragon's current cultivation, using a peerless divine ability once would cause it to be severely weakened. It could be said to be extremely tragic. Fortunately, he had also gained a lot. Although there wasn't much set essence, he had obtained the blueprint for the 5th piece of the War God set, as well as the attribute light balls from the 3 peak stage Devil Kings. "Little guy, you're too shocking, fighting on the demon race battlefield. How dare you think of such a thing?" Zue Lao Wang and the others stepped through the air. The 4 heaven-opening experts also cupped their hands towards the white-haired old man. After the 4 understood what had happened, their gazes towards Lin Chun were filled with shock. Too fierce. When did such a monster appear in the human race? An expansion realm cultivator dared to go to the demon race battlefield. Thinking back to when they had defeated a life and death realm cultivator, they had still been proud of themselves. An expansion realm cultivator had killed a peak stage Devil King of the heaven opening realm. The 2 sides were simply not on the same level. Lin Shen's gaze swept across the entire hidden dragon city. The various forces and almighty experts all looked at him with completely different eyes. In the past, no matter how monstrous Lin Shan was, they had only regarded him as a junior who had yet to mature. Now, when they looked at him, they all lowered their heads in respect and fear. Having the strength to kill a heaven-opening realm cultivator meant that Lin Shan would be on the same level as them in the future, or even surpass them. Of course, this was only a kind of deterrence. Lin Shan knew that without the set essence, his battle prowess would only be able to fight against an early-stage Sacred Heart realm cultivator. I have to find a place to absorb all these peak grade blood chi attribute points. After my pure strength rises again, my strength will rise to another level. Lin Shun ignored the questions of Zue Lao Wang and the others and charged towards Lung Yuechi in Class 66. When he saw everyone's worried faces, ripples appeared in his heart. It was time. He had to find a time to return to the 9 provinces. He had to get rid of the last disaster of the 9 provinces. The current him was no longer the weak battle emperor of the past. Chapter 1464. Under the 9-state continent, there were 9 demon eyes. Although Shangguan Ju had sealed them, it was only for a short period of time. Only the 9 phantom nail in the holy prison could seal the demon eyes. Otherwise, once the demon eyes went berserk, the 9-states continent would be destroyed. Lin Shun had already obtained the 9 phantom nail from the holy prison. Returning to the 9-states continent to suppress the demon eyes and revive the Dean was not far away. When Lin Shun landed, everyone was surprised and happy. Everyone in Class 66 was more worried. "Don't worry, I'm fine." Lin Shun grinned. Elder Wanhua cupped his fists respectfully. "Benefactor Lin is really a god descended from the heavens. Your talent is peerless. In the future, you will definitely be listed on the Talent Saint list." Elder Wanhua of the Thousand Flames Palace had been protecting the people around Lin Shun so that they would not be harmed in this battle. This was because he knew that even if he went up to help, he might not be able to make a substantial difference. A chaotic battle between many peak Saint Demon Kings was not something he could easily interfere with by himself. "Sister Yuechi." Lin Shen looked at Lung Yuechi and nodded with a smile. "After I finish my recent matters, we will return to the 9-states continent together." Yulin Lin, Yin Qianyun, and the others were overjoyed. Ying Liang and Bai Ju and Hao looked at each other. "Are we finally going back?" A trace of nostalgia appeared between Lung Yuechi's brows. In the 9-states continent, there were many memories of her first encounter with Lin Shun. "The 9-states continent? I want to go down and play too." Yi Qingwu's eyes lit up, making Lin Shun smile. "Fairy Scarlet, please help me escort everyone back to the Ice Heart Palace. When I'm done, I will go back with everyone." Lin Shun said to Fairy Scarlet as the vitality in his body became more and more abundant. Fairy Scarlet bowed. "Master's order," Scarlet understands. Not bothering to converse with the others, Lin Shun immediately entered a state of seclusion. In this battle and the 9 clans battlefield, his harvest was extremely terrifying. Half a month later, Crouching Dragon City, the seclusion plane of the Heavenly Stairway competition. Song Mountain was covered in snow. Lin Shun sat cross-legged on the snowy peak, resting with his eyes closed. It took Lin Shun half a month to completely replenish his Saint acupoints, heal his injuries, and refine his top blood and chi. With a thought, Lin Shun opened the system. Heavenly Tao Possession System version 7. 0 host. Lin Shun. Cultivation. Perfection of the 4th Heaven True Saint Realm. Peak Essence. 88. 9 billion points. Maximum Strength. 280 trillion Dragon Power. Flesh Shell Awakening plus 300%. Maximum HP. 105. 5 billion top-level Spiritual Energy. 89. 4 billion points Paramount Saint Rudiment Stage. Top-grade Cultivation Technique Soul Essence. 3,400,000 points. Top-grade Rune Energy. 8,750,000 points. High-grade Heaven's Path points, 50,000 points. Advanced Talent points, 1. 2 billion Set Essence, 0 points. Middle Strengthening points, 78,500. Odd Crystals Refined, 41 pieces. Top Grade Elemental Energy, 170,000 points for Fire, 170,000 points for Earth, 170,000 points for Wood, 170,000 points for Metal, 190,000 points for Water, 150,000 points for Lightning, 140,000 points for Wind, 150,000 points for Light, 140,000 points for Darkness. Set Column, Golden War God Set, Equip Parts, Ultimate Right Arm Armor, Ultimate Left Arm Armor, Ultimate Left Leg Armor, Ultimate Right Leg Armor, Ultimate Armor, Blueprint. Talent Column, Bloodline Status Column, Cultivation Technique Status Column, Life Awakening Column, Killing Technique Column, Special Rune Column, Talent Combination Technique. He had improved by leaps and bounds. During this period of time, Lin Shun had truly welcomed the most terrifying growth after expanding his acupoints. The attributes dropped by the 3 peak Saint Demon Kings and a large number of high-level Saint Demon Kings have increased my pure strength from 29 trillion to 280 trillion dragon power. In addition, the Holy Dragon has increased from 5 trillion dragon veins to 9 trillion dragon veins. When Lin Shun opened his eyes, there was a burst of divine light that caused the entire space to tremble. One breath to swallow the mountains and rivers, one breath to swallow the sun and moon. This time, Lin Shun mainly allowed the Holy Dragon to absorb the top-grade blood and chi attributes. The absorption speed of the main body couldn't compare to the speed of the increase, even with the help of the 6 clones. Strictly speaking, Lin Shun's current pure strength was 70 trillion dragon power, and it was purely a 300% increase from the flesh shell awakening. The higher the body refinement realm, the harder it was to increase. In the sacred boundary, there were very few body refinements that could reach the heaven opening realm. No matter how much the human bloodline was changed and cultivated, it couldn't compare to the beast race, dragon race, demon race, and other races that had a stronger life force. Right, let's see if I can strengthen the ancient Taishi dragon bloodline. Lin Shun had a sudden impulse and opened the strengthening function, choosing to strengthen the ancient Taishi dragon bloodline by 5 billion points. System notification, strengthening failed. Insufficient strengthening points. To strengthen the ancient Taishi dragon bloodline, 500,000 middle strengthening points are required for 1 strengthening. Lin Shun's mouth twitched. The divine dragon bloodline was truly terrifying. 500,000 middle strengthening points was equivalent to 50 trillion strengthening points for 1 strengthening, and it was only strengthening +1. Lin Shun had only spent 10,000 middle strengthening points to strengthen a batch of grade 7 sacred artifacts to +15. No wonder the divine dragon bloodline is so terrifying. It's impossible to strengthen the divine dragon bloodline in a short period of time. It's better to save it for future use. Lin Shun shook his head helplessly and clenched his fists as he calculated in his heart. I've heard the ancient Taishi Dragon Senior tell me that in terms of pure strength, apart from Tiger or Dragon Power, the next level is the strength of a Venerable. 1 trillion Dragon Power was equivalent to the strength of a Venerable. The strength of a Venerable could break stars. In terms of Venerable Power, Lin Shun currently had 280 Venerable Power, and his Holy Dragon had 900 Venerable Power. To put it bluntly, if Lin Shun's Holy Dragon encountered the peak Saint Demon King again, it wouldn't be as simple as just stalling for time. Other than the silver-haired Demon King, it would be able to smash any of the 10 peak Saint Demon Kings to the ground. However, it was still far from the level of the Dragon Devourer Demon King. At the very least, if the Dragon Devourer Demon King wanted to kill Lin Shun, it wouldn't be able to break through his Taishi Divine Light so easily like last time. With the strength of a heaven-opening realm cultivator, if I walk the sacred boundary, even a grade 8 faction would have to think twice before touching me. Lin Shun. And this time, I've toughened up my back. Lin Shan narrowed his eyes. When he stood up, his aura faintly overturned the entire realm, and he couldn't help but hide his own aura. For this trip, Lin Shan had two things to do. The first was to find a fourth part of the Tai heaven concealing technique. The second was to gather his servants. Lin Shan didn't have the time to wait for his alchemy skills to break through to grade 8. The opportunity to become a grade 8 saint alchemist was something that couldn't be sought after, and Lin Shan couldn't just keep waiting. Since he had the resources and a certain amount of ability now, he would do his best to help his servants. When the time came, Lin Shan believed that he had the ability to establish a super sect, a superpower that wouldn't be inferior to any grade 8 faction. Divine Flame Palace. Sister Oyon, wait for me. We'll meet soon. Lin Shan's lips curled up slightly. Lin Shan was confident that when he stepped into the Divine Flame Palace, he would have the strength to fight against this colossus that he could only look up to. Lin Shan rose to his feet. In a flash, he disappeared from the plane. Chapter 1465. With 280 supremacy powers, Lin Shan's combat strength had skyrocketed. Even without the Ares set, each of his doppelgangers would have the combat strength of a mid-stage Sacred Heart Realm cultivator. Lin Shan did not check the vast amount of resources in the plant pouch for the time being. He returned to Wulong City. Inside the Cloud Cauldron Tower, the various sects in the Sword Domain, the Elixir Domain's Elder Guild, and the Realm Pagoda were stunned when they heard Lin Shan's request. You want to ask about an ancient sword sect? There are many sword sects in the Sky Sanctuary region. You're looking for a needle in a haystack. After listening to Lin Shan's explanation, the people from the Sword Domain fell into deep thought. The sword sect that was related to Jian Wuji's enemy and moved to the Sky Sanctuary region. The three sword emanations elders looked at each other and said in unison, The Nine Evil Sword Hall. The Nine Evil Sword Hall was famous in the Sword Domain. Of course, the reason why it was so famous was that when it reached its peak, it used the various sects in the Sword Domain as a springboard to move to the Sky Sanctuary region. It was said that the Sword Hall's power was extremely complicated and was despised by the various sects in the Sword Domain. However, there was no doubt about its strength. It was a new dark horse among the 8th grade sects and had a strong foundation. Where's the Nine Evil Sword Hall? Lin Shan asked hurriedly. However, Lin Shan's answer was unexpected. No one knows where their headquarters are. These guys are both good and evil. Although some of their actions are commendable, many of their characters are very bad. Since the migration of the Sword Domain, although we know that they came to the Sky Sanctuary region, no one knows where their headquarters are. The three elders' answer made Lin Shan narrow his eyes. How could they not know? Damn it, could it be that a duck that was already in his mouth would fly away? Lin Shan's eyes gradually darkened. If he could not find it through normal means, he did not mind fighting at all costs. He was determined to get the 4th chapter of the Tai Sky concealing technique. Seeing Lin Shan's strange appearance, Elder Shan of the Boundary Tower couldn't help but laugh. I say, you old fellows, can't you speak to a young man in a bad way? Don't let this little guy go crazy again. He even dares to go to the battlefield of the demon race. He would do even more things in minutes. The three elders of the Sword region looked at each other and shook their heads helplessly. Little guy, if you really want to find them, there's only one way in the near future. Go to the Cultivation Technique Exchange in the Heavenly Sacred Region's Earth Dragon City. Lin Shan was stunned. Cultivation Technique Exchange? The elders nodded. Jian Qingshang smiled and explained to Lin Shan in detail. The Cultivation Method Exchange Meet is an exchange meet between a grade 8 force and some sects that have retired. Its purpose is to exchange cultivation methods and cultivation resources. Every time there is a cultivation technique exchange, it will attract many top geniuses. The main purpose of this meeting is to exchange copies of unsuitable top cultivation methods of equal value. Although it is an auction, it is different from ordinary auctions. Every rank 8 sect has different cultivation methods that are not suitable for their experts. But normally, it is very difficult for top cultivation methods to appear in a market. There's a price, but no market. Most of the sects will not sell their cultivation methods. However, in order to maximize the value of top cultivation methods, some sects will exchange their own cultivation methods for equivalent value. Jian Qingqing's explanation made Lin Chun understand immediately. Indeed, the more powerful one's cultivation was, the more one needed a matching cultivation method in order to maximize one's strength. If one forced his own elements to practice some unsuitable cultivation methods, it would be counterproductive. In this case, it was the wisest choice to exchange cultivation methods. Yes, although the 9 Evil Sword Palace is mysterious, they will not be absent from every cultivation technique exchange meet. If you want to find them, this is the only way. However, little guy, you'd better not have too much hope. These people are not easy to deal with. The 3 elders warned. Lin Chen nodded. No matter what, I have to try. Earth Dragon City, right? I'm in a hurry. Let's go now. When Lin Chen stood up, Jian Qingcheng subconsciously blurted out, I'll go with you. You're not familiar with the rules. After saying that, Jian Qingcheng's cheeks were dyed with a faint layer of red, as bright as her red hair. I seem to have heard something fun. At this time, the little demon empress pushed open the door, patted her chest, and said proudly, Lin Chun, I'll take you flying. I know how to get there. Lin Chun shook his head and laughed. All right, let's go. The 3 elders handed Jian Qingsheng over to Lin Chun at the right time. When leaving Hidden Dragon City, Lin Chun wanted to leave in a low-key manner. Now, he had become one of the people at the top of the sacred boundary. Although his ranking on the Monstrous Genius ranking was still below 2,000, the attention he received was no less than some of the top-ranked monstrous geniuses. 4 days later, Lin Chen set off at full speed. The heavenly sacred region was very wide, and even with his cultivation, he had to spend a lot of time. Heavenly sacred region, Earth Dragon City. This dragon city was the most low-key among the 100,000 dragon cities in the heavenly sacred region. On the surface, there weren't many forces, but because of this, it was convenient for the 8th rank forces to carry out some secret transactions. The cultivation technique exchange was a secret meeting that only forces with a certain level of foundation would know about. Even if they knew, there weren't many people who could participate. Coincidentally, the little demon empress, Jian Qingsheng, and Lin Chen all had their own identities to enter. Earth Dragon City. The cultivation technique exchange was held in the underground city. In the underground city, Lin Chun, Lin Ping, and the little demon empress and Jian Qingsheng arrived. In front of the VIP passage, the life and death realm old man, guarding the door, stared at the token in his hand. When he looked at Lin Chun in front of him again, he couldn't help but say in astonishment, 2001 on the monstrous genius list? You Expanse Realm? What kind of joke is this? Although this old man has been in seclusion for a while, my experience isn't that easy to fool. Lin Chun said with a mocking smile, What, haven't you seen such a handsome guy on the monstrous genius list? The yellow-robed old man casually threw the monstrous genius list token back to Lin Chun and shook his head with a smile. Young people these days really have all kinds of methods to sneak into the cultivation technique exchange. This monstrous genius list token is forged as if it's real. Who are you looking down on? Back then, this old man was known as the yin-yang eyes that could see through 10,000 miles. I can see through all kinds of trash with a single glance. With your life force fluctuations, you've only been on the monstrous genius list for 1,000 years or so. Who are you trying to fool? Get lost, get lost. Seeing that you brought 3 beauties with you today, this old man will leave you some face. Don't get in the way of this old man's business. The yellow-robed old man waved his hand impatiently. Jian Qingcheng's almond-shaped eyes widened slightly, and the little demon empress was holding back her laughter. Damn it, doing things too arrogantly is also a kind of trouble sometimes. Looks like I have to show some of my true abilities, Lin Chen laughed out loud. Was this the result of doing things too arrogantly? Sometimes it would be very difficult for others to believe you if you were to be so unique in everything you did. Lin Shun, Your Excellency Lin Shun. At this time, a charming and soft voice was heard. There was shock in the tone. The beauty walked over with graceful steps. It was a beautiful woman in a light yellow palace dress. Her waist was slender like a beautiful snake, and her aura was strong. She was at the peak of the star-receiving realm. The yellow-robed old man said with a smile, "Managering, this kid wanted to pretend to be in the top 2,000 on the monstrous genius list, but this old man exposed him and slap. Bang." The beautiful woman in palace dress sent the yellow-robed old man flying with a slap. "You idiot. This is His Excellency Lin Chun, who has expanded his acupoints by 30,000 times. Who are you to question his identity? Get lost for this old lady, as far as you can." She was like a fierce tigress, scaring the black-robed old man so much that his face changed. Expanded his acupoints by 30,000 times. Seeing the surrounding gazes gather, Lin Shun and Lin Ping and put on their sunglasses at the right time and revealed their signature smile. Chapter 1466. The beautiful woman in palace attire said carefully, Lin Shun, is what I did to your liking?" Without waiting for Lin Chen's reply, Lin Ping and said in an old-fashioned manner, "Amen, it's so. Also, prepare 100 sugar figurines for me. I want the best brand in the heavenly sanctuary." The beautiful woman in palace attire bowed slightly. "Yes, this guest. I will definitely satisfy your request." Jian Qingsheng and the little demon empress were amused by this girl. Lin Shen pulled her back and said to the beautiful woman in palace attire, "Amen, your attitude is all right. Let's go, take us in." The beautiful woman in palace attire received the order and immediately ordered someone to buy sugar figurines for Lin Ping. She quickly led the way. Entering the passage, an unprecedentedly huge venue came into view. The beautiful woman in palace attire had a graceful and slender figure, which attracted a lot of attention. Lin Shen narrowed his eyes. In the venue, there were already many treasures and secret treasures being auctioned. There were even many reputable treasure appraisers. The beautiful woman in palace attire smiled sweetly. "This is just the warm-up. I believe that Sir Lin Shun came here for the cultivation technique exchange." Lin Shun said with a teasing smile, "Foreplay? Why is this foreplay a bit long?" The beautiful woman in palace attire was stunned, then chuckled lightly. She shook out waves of snow and blushed. However, this was the pretense of a mature woman. Lin Shun was calm, and his expression did not change. Experience can make you calm down day by day, and so can second brother. Along the way, the beautiful woman in palace attire tried to fish for information from Lin Shun. Lin Shun seemed to be full of flirtatious words, but in reality, she could not get anything out of him. This young man is as mysterious as the legends say. Even my charm technique is useless. The beautiful woman in palace attire, Manager Ing, was secretly amazed. She had used this trick to take down many male monstrous geniuses. After a night of romance, she had successfully grasped the other party's weakness and extorted many benefits. After Manager Ing brought Lin Shun and the others to a luxurious guest room, there was a transparent window that was connected to the venue outside, allowing one to take in everything at a glance. Manager Ing bowed slightly, deliberately showing off the beautiful white scenery. She smiled slightly and said, "This is your distinguished guest room. If there's anything you need, remember to call me again. I can do anything." Lin Shun was surprised. "You can do anything?" Manager Ing chuckled. "Yes, in every sense of the word." Lin Shun gave a thumbs up and praised. "You're really capable. Then help me sell these too." Lin Shun tossed a storage ring to her and said with a smile, "I'll give you 5% of the profits. Go sell these things and make the necessary arrangements." When Manager Ing took the storage ring and opened it, Shuiyu was instantly stunned. A large number of demonic crystals were piled up into a small mountain, and their demonic aura was monstrous. If it weren't for the special seal, this high-grade storage ring would have been shattered into nothingness. Saint Magic Crystal? And they're all high-grade. High-grade Saint Magic Crystal was the only energy core of a Saint Demon King. This item was extremely rare and could be used to forge weapons and lay down formations. It was extremely useful. High-grade Saint Magic Crystals were extremely valuable because obtaining one meant killing a high-grade Saint Demon King, which was equivalent to killing a saint above the life and death realm. Manager Ying carefully counted. There were actually 1380 high-grade Saint Magic Crystals in the storage ring. Manager Ying's palms were trembling. She had never seen so many Saint Magic Crystals before. It's rumored that this kid has gone to the demon battlefield and has the battle strength to kill a peak-grade Saint Demon King. It's true. He's too strong. This is the young man known as the legend of the Demon Genius list. If I can curry favor with him, my status in Earth Dragon City will skyrocket. Manager Ying felt that she had an opportunity and said respectfully, I'll definitely not disappoint you. These demonic crystals were naturally obtained by Lin Shun from the demon battlefield. His only regret was that he didn't obtain a Demon Venerable's demonic crystal. Every Demon Venerable's demonic crystal had been dug out from the coffins, leaving behind an empty corpse. If he could obtain a Demon Venerable's demonic crystal, Lin Shen's wealth would definitely skyrocket. Unfortunately, the demon race had held back. However, the high-grade Saint Magic Crystals should be enough for me to use for a while. Although Lin Shan was selling high-grade Saint Magic Crystals, he didn't sell a single high-grade Saint Magic Crystal. This was because his Grade 7 Saint artifact, Demon Slaughtering Spear, could absorb the energy of Saint Magic Crystals to grow. Jin Wuxia and Old Man Xinyuan had said that each of Lin Shen's Grade 7 Saint artifacts had an unprecedented spirituality. Due to the special materials used to forge them, each of them had their own way of growing. The Demon Slaughtering Spear's way of growing was to absorb Saint Magic Crystals. However, it could only be used on high-grade Saint Magic Crystals. If Lin Chun had enough Saint Magic Crystals, it could even break through the Grade 7 Saint artifact and become Grade 8 Saint artifact. At this moment, Lin Chun and the three girls turned to look at the bidding stage. The auctioneer held a jade box with icy light flowing around it, causing the cold air in the venue to suddenly descend. Faint snowflakes floated in the air, causing many fiery eyes to stare at the crystal in the jade box. This is an ice-type odd crystal condensed from 13 layers of snow mountain chalcedony. It's a mid-grade odd crystal for million gold Saint Origin coins. A mid-grade odd crystal would definitely be a rare item in the outside world, but it wasn't considered too rare here. A low-grade odd crystal was usually worth 1 billion silver Saint Origin coins, which was equivalent to 100,000 gold Saint Origin coins. A mid-grade odd crystal was worth 4 million Saint Origin coins. The price was tens or even hundreds of times higher. 6 million. A languid and pleasant female voice came from a VIP box. This young lady is really rich. Hee, this old one will bid 7 million. A hidden expert let out a strange laugh. However, at this moment, Lin Shen's bid came from Lin Shen's box. 13 million. In the venue, many experts were surprised and looked at Lin Shen's box as if they wanted to see through the true face of the owner. This mid-grade odd crystal was worth at most 9 million. Did this person have too much money to spend? However, in the next moment, Lin Shen's voice came from the box. So annoying. I have so much money that I can't fit in my dozens of luck plant pouches. I really want to spend some of it. Hurry up and bid. Can you help me raise the price? Autumn pear cream. The saint's mouths twitched. Damn, where did this weirdo come from? If you think you have too much money, why don't you spend it? Why are you raising the price here? What a strange person. A puzzled voice came from a box that started the bidding. No one dared to raise the price, and this ice-type odd crystal was won by Lin Shen. The people present were all old foxes and wouldn't raise the price impulsively. Once the other party stopped bidding, they would take over. The auctioneer's beautiful lady beamed with joy. She had earned more money from this deal. Then, she took out a treasure box that was filled with 5 odd crystals that looked like a roulette. The entire venue gasped. 5 elements odd crystals: metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. There was a very small probability of 5 odd crystals being born in one body. The energy was extremely pure, and they were all mid-grade odd crystals. I won't say much about the value of this rare 5-element odd crystal. The starting price is 35 million. Everyone. Before the auctioneer finished speaking, Lin Chen's voice came again. I bid 100 million. At this moment, the entire venue was silent. Even the sound of a pin dropping could be heard. Chapter 1467. What kind of joke is this? Although the 5-element odd crystals are valuable, they can't be worth 100 million, right? This kid isn't rich, he's probably retarded, right? All the sages sneered. 100 million wasn't silver Saint Origin coins, it was gold Saint Origin coins. If converted to silver Saint Origin coins, it would be 1 trillion. Even if he was rich, he shouldn't spend it like this, right? Lin Chen really had a lot of money, not to mention his gains in the 9 races battlefield. Just the amount of gold Saint Origin coins he robbed from the Dragon Clan was in the hundreds of millions. The middle-grade Destiny Spirit plants in Lin Chen's possession had already exceeded 70 stocks. Secondly, while he was in the 9 races battlefield, Bai Qianqian, who was in Wulong City, helped him cultivate new high-grade spirit plants, and gold Saint Origin coins were produced like raindrops. Lin Chen indeed had a terrifying amount of gold Saint Origin coins. He didn't even have the time to count how much money he had. Secondly, Lin Chen was in desperate need of odd crystals. He needed to refine them himself, and he needed to use a large number of odd crystals in other places. So the more the better. With 100 million gold Saint Origin coins, Lin Chen directly destroyed everyone's thoughts of bidding. I want to play too. The little demon empress' eyes lit up as if she had regained her vitality. Her delicate face was full of excitement. I want to bid too. Lin Chen, what do you want to buy? I'll bid for you and you'll pay for it. Lin Chen's mouth twitched. You bid and I'll pay for it? Won't I still pay for it? Jian Qingqing's eyes flickered and she said, Me too. Lin Ping, and looked like it was fun as she ate the candy and grinned. Me too. Dong. Lin Chen knocked her little head. Whatever you want, just join the fun and eat your food. Lin Chen held his forehead and said, I heard that there are 3 auction venues in this venue. If you want to buy, help me buy all the odd crystals and sacred artifacts. Whether it's low grade, middle grade, or sacred artifacts, I need them all. The more the better. No problem. Leave it to me. The 2 girls high-fived each other. When they smiled, they were absolutely stunning. Their smiles were so beautiful that even Lin Chen was stunned. The 2 women split up and headed to the other 2 auction venues. Jian Qingqing and the Little Demon Empress took every odd crystal that appeared in the 3 auction halls. Furthermore, even though Jian Qingqing and the Little Demon Empress weren't buying it for themselves, they were very happy to bid. Lin Chen couldn't help but sigh. A woman's desire to shop was innate. After 1 round, 2 days and 2 nights had passed. In the 3 venues, all the sacred artifacts and odd crystals were packed into Lin Chen's pocket. Within the auction hall, the auction was about to come to an end. However, everyone knew that this was only the prelude and warm-up. The true highlight of the auction was the cultivation technique exchange. I think everyone can't wait to enter the exchange, right? But before the exchange begins, let's have a small interlude. At this moment, Manager Ng personally went up to the stage to host the auction. Her lips were cherry red, and her waist was so slender that it seemed boneless. She wore a close-fitting and thin dress that revealed some of her snow-white skin, outlining her perfect curves. The atmosphere of the auction hall was pushed to a climax. She waved her slender hand, and a light yellow brocade pouch appeared in her palm. This is a Four Seasons plant pouch. It's a high-grade Providence plant pouch with an area of more than 1,000,000 mu. It has 4 seasons and 8 climates. It's extremely good for absorbing energy in Providence. It can hold more than 100 Providence spirit plants. It's more than enough. The price is 15 billion gold Saint origin coins. Those who could buy this item were truly people with a strong foundation. Generally speaking, the major forces had their own plain spaces to cultivate Providence spirit plants. Generally speaking, a middle-grade Providence plant pouch was enough. A high-grade Providence plant pouch could only be used by true big shots. However, before anyone could speak, Lin Chen's voice was heard again. Yes, I like this wallet. I was just worried that my wallet was too small and that there was not enough space to hold money. I'll pay 30 billion gold Saint origin coins. All the sages were stunned, complaining that his wallet was too small and that there was not enough space to hold money. Using a high-grade Providence plant pouch as a wallet? Listen to this. Is this even human language? If Lin Shan was just trying to please the crowd before, then he was really spending 10 billion gold Saint origin coins now. Damn, I really want to beat him up. F***CK. Does this kid think that gold Saint origin coins are money? That's 30 billion gold Saint origin coins. Even an 8th rank sect can't take that out, just like that. Lin Shan felt helpless when he heard the undisguised curses around him. Sigh. I'm already under the pressure of being handsome at my age. I finally became an honest kid and spoke the truth, but I'm already being bullied to this extent. It's so hard to be a person. It's even harder to be a handsome and rich man who's good at something. In the end, no one dared to compete with Lin Shan for this item, and he won another wallet? Yes, Lin Shan really bought this high-grade Providence plant pouch just to use it as a wallet. Previously, he had used a medium-grade Providence plant pouch, but the range was indeed too small for him now. He finally behaved himself for a while, but it caused many people to roll their eyes at him. It's so hard to be an honest kid. Then, the beautiful woman in the palace gown chuckled. With a wave of her hand, a huge green jade compass appeared in front of everyone's eyes. The dazzling light illuminated the entire venue. Countless sages were stunned. Their eyes trembled as they stared at the jade-like gemstones on the green jade compass in disbelief. High-grade Saint demonic crystals. Based on the experience of the powerful people present, some of them were from the 100,000 Dragon City, and some of them were from the 36 regions. They were all prominent figures who dominated their own regions. It was not that they had not seen high-grade Saint demonic crystals with their own eyes. However, they had never seen so many high-grade Saint demonic crystals. Upon closer inspection, there were more than 1,000 of them. Didn't this mean that 1,000 high-grade Saint Demon Kings had died? This was a number that could only happen in a rare super war in history. Then, there was a heated discussion in the two other venues. It was obvious that the same scene was playing out in both venues. These high-grade Saint demonic crystals are sold for 5 billion Saint origin coins each. If any of the VIPs want one, please press the crystal on your seat. If the number of people buying exceeds the number of Saint demonic crystals, the first bidder will be eliminated through bidding. Manager chuckled softly and continued. Also, the auction house guarantees that the source of these high-grade Saint demonic crystals is righteous. Also, they were personally brought here by the VIPs in Room 7. Once this was said, many sages jumped to their feet in shock. Room 7? That rich and foolish young master? And all these Saint demonic crystals were brought here by him? Didn't this mean that he had the ability to kill 1,000 high-grade Saint Demon Kings? Or that he had the ability to destroy 1,000 high-grade Saint Demon Kings? Please allow me to introduce him. The owner of Room 7 is the one who has been in the limelight recently. He expanded his acupoints by 30,000 times in the history of the monster roll. After entering the 9 races battlefield, he charged into the demon race battlefield alone and even killed 2 peak Saint Demon Kings. Countless sages' jaws dropped. That was way too much information, wasn't it? Chapter 1468. That was way too much information to take in. 30,000 times expansion, 10 times greater than the highest expansion in the history of the Monster Genius list. Charging into the demon race's battlefield alone, he even killed 2 peak holy demon kings. That was equivalent to the heaven-opening realm of the human race. Every Motherf asterisk Kerr's words sounded like they were fake. He's the one on the Monster Genius list, His Excellency Lin Chun, titled Celestial God Descended. As soon as he said that, everyone turned to look at VIP Room 7. They saw a petite little girl in a peach-colored dress standing by the transparent window in Room 7. She wore sunglasses and had her hands on her hips, pretending to be arrogant. Lin Chun is under my protection. Do you understand? Lin Chun facepalmed. Should he call her domineering or cute? A little of both, right? The one in Room 7 is Lin Chun, who expanded his acupoints by 30,000 times. Interesting, he's here too. I've heard of his legend as soon as I entered the 100,000 Dragon City. I didn't expect him to really come here. I've long wanted to meet him. Damn, my hands are itching. He must have used some external power to kill the peak Saint Demon Kings. I don't believe he has such battle strength at his age. I really want to fight him. Many curious voices sounded, and some even released battle intent, all the way to Lin Chen's room. Oh, many of the battle intent are directed at me? Lin Chen narrowed his eyes. His mental realm was not to be underestimated, and he instantly felt the battle intent in the 3 Venus. I want 2 of these high-grade Saint Demon crystals. I want one too. Many reclusive, old monsters and various factions bid one after another. Although Saint Demon crystals could not be compared to Saint Beast cores of the same level, they were still valuable. Lin Chen's wave was a huge profit. The demon race was not like the dragon race or the beast race. If a Saint Beast or Saint Dragon was comparable to a life and death realm expert, every part of their body would be extremely valuable. However, the only valuable part of the demon race to the human race was the Saint Demon Crystal. However, high-grade Saint Demon Crystals were still something that could only be found by chance. High-level Holy Demon Kings usually only appeared in powerful demon tribes and planar spaces. Generally speaking, fighting a high-tier Holy Demon King would attract the attention of other Holy Demon Kings. Killing a high-tier Holy Demon King was no different from starting a large-scale planar war. In the end, all of Lin Chen's Saint Magic Crystals were sold, and 64 people participated in the bidding for an even higher price. Lin Chen's wealth had accumulated to an extremely terrifying level. Just from a sale of these Saint Magic Crystals alone, he had earned more than 690 billion gold Saint Origin coins. However, other purchase costs would have to be deducted afterwards. When Manager Ing saw that all the items had been sold, her waist went soft. She looked at Lin Chen's private room with deep feelings. Her eyes were like silk, her breath was like an orchid, and her jade-like legs were tightly pressed together. It was as long as Lin Chun gave the order, he could pluck her at any time. After all, excluding the 3% commission collected by the auction, Lin Chun had said that she would receive a 5% commission. 5% of the 7 trillion gold Saint Origin coins was more than 300 billion gold Saint Origin coins. Even if she was at the peak of the star state, it would take her countless years to earn such a huge sum of money. Very good. I've earned back all the odd crystals and sacred artifacts that I bought in the past 2 days. I've also made a huge profit, and I can also purchase a batch of herbs. I hope I can help everyone recover a little more. Lin Chen was secretly looking forward to it. He didn't know how much he could help his servants recover this time. Finally, the warm-up auction came to a perfect end. Then, ripples appeared in the space, and the 3 Venus merged into one to form a huge arena. 3 elders appeared out of thin air, and they were all experts at the peak of the Sacred Heart state. The 3 of them worked together to activate their saint power, and a square spatial barrier was formed, locking the surroundings like a cage. Today, I hope everyone will bear with us. As usual, let's start today's highlight. After completing the spatial barrier, the 3 elders cupped their fists and left. Then, Manager Ing spread out the information in her palm and read aloud. I'm from the Shangwan clan of the Thousand Domains. I'm represented by young Master Shangwan Ming, who is ranked 1,970 on the Demon Genius list. I brought a scroll of intermediate orange level fire attribute, sword technique, Thousand Slaughter of the Fire Demon. A mid-orange grade sword technique. Even Lin Shun couldn't help but sigh at the top level of this technique exchange. It was really difficult to buy a mid-orange grade technique in the outside world. This time, the Shangwan family is exchanging a mid-orange grade metal attribute battle skill. It can be used for both sword and palm techniques, or multiple grade, 6 or grade, 7 sacred elixirs of the same price. If there are any VIPs who want it, please press the crystal onto your seat. Manager Ying's beautiful eyes swept the entire place, and her gaze landed directly on the VIP box. Only grade 8 forces were qualified to bid for this kind of equivalent exchange. I'm offering a mid-orange grade palm technique. A graceful and pleasant voice came from box 15, and a stream of golden light shot toward Manager Ing. The breathing in hall became a lot more rapid. Manager Ing took it and spread out the space jade slip in her palm. She activated her mind power and read it briefly. Then, she smiled charmingly. Are there any other VIPs who are interested? Then, there were other bids from the other boxes. In the box, Lin Ping and waved her little fist and said excitedly, "When are we going to bid?" "Forget it. I'm going to shout now." Lin Shin quickly stopped her. "If you continue to make a fuss, I won't bring you out to play." Under normal circumstances, the techniques displayed at the technique exchange would not be sold for sacred origin coins. Therefore, Lin Shun did not have many suitable items to bid. The only option was to exchange with elixirs. However, grade 7 sacred elixirs were not cheap. Moreover, Lin Shun was in desperate need of elixirs. It was not realistic to buy them with elixirs. He watched quietly, as if he was waiting for something. Then, a graceful girl walked into the box and bowed respectfully. She presented a jade slip with both hands. "Dear VIP, this is what Manager Ing told me to give to you." Lin Shun grasped the air and spread out the space jade slip. The girl retreated. Then, Lin Shun was so excited that he almost jumped up. Good heavens! I was right to give the bonus to this woman. The 9 Evil Sword Palace is really participating in this technique exchange. Moreover, Manager Ing had helped him find out that the 9 Evil Sword Palace had put up a mysterious technique fragment for auction this time. Even the organizers of the exchange were unable to determine the exact grade of the incomplete cultivation technique. This technique fragment might be the 4th chapter of the Tai Sky concealing technique that Lin Shin wanted. Under normal circumstances, only the top figures of the exchange would know about the items that were put up for auction at the technique exchange. In order to get this information, Manager Ing must have paid a high price. The only pity is that I don't know what the 9 Evil Sword Palace wants to exchange for. I will only know when their technique fragment is put on the stage. Lin Shin's eyes flashed with a trace of sharpness. If it was really the Tai Sky concealing technique fragment, it would be best if he could get it through proper channels. Otherwise, even if he had to snatch it, Lin Shin would get it. Chapter 1469. Ms. Chun Shuang from the Ice Domain, ranked 1,895th on the monster ranking, wants to exchange for the 1,000 illusionary star stepping steps. It uses the power of the stars to transform into a movement technique. It's a beginner orange grade movement technique. If you absorb enough star energy, you can unleash the speed of an intermediate orange grade movement technique. Manager Ing shook the scroll that was flickering with starlight in her hand and said, "Ms. Chun Shuang wants to exchange for an elixir of equivalent value or an ice-type defensive cultivation technique. As for the grade and uniqueness, you could decide for yourself." As soon as Manager Ing finished speaking, bids came from the treasure chests again. They called out the names of various shocking cultivation techniques. Out of the corner of his eye, Lin Shin noticed Jian Qingqing's gaze. Her beautiful eyes glimmered as she occasionally lowered her head to look at the storage ring on her slender fingers, as if she really wanted that cultivation technique. Do you want it? Lin Shen smiled at Jian Qingchen. She shook her head. Yes, but I didn't bring anything of equivalent value to exchange. I also don't want to trouble you. I know you have important things to do. Lin Shen suddenly held the beautiful woman's hand, causing her to blush. Lin Shen smiled meaningfully. If you want it, buy it. The money won't be spent. It will become what you want and stay by your side. Moreover, I haven't repaid you for saving me last time. Lin Shen snapped his fingers and pressed the crystal. Room 7. A handsome guy offers a drop of the Black Horse Club's Tiani Holy Water. It's guaranteed to cure all cultivation technique bottlenecks. As soon as he said that, the competing forces immediately quieted down. The entire venue was silent. Tiani Holy Water? And it was only one drop? What kind of joke was this? One drop of Tiani Holy Water in exchange for a supreme-grade movement technique? The three elders who had set up the spatial enchantment appeared in the void and frowned. Was this person here to cause trouble? If so, it might be a little tricky. A young man who could kill a peak holy demon king. If he really wanted to cause trouble, the organizers of the cultivation technique exchange would have to step in to stop him. Mr. Lin Shen, this price doesn't seem to be enough. Even Manager Ing, who had always been flirtatious, revealed an awkward expression. No matter how effective the Tiani Holy Water was, it could not compare to a scroll of orange-grade body movement technique. At this moment, Lin Shen's cynical laughter rang out again. Stewarding, I'm not joking with you. Help me ask the owner of this cultivation method. I can help her cultivate any cultivation method to perfection within a few days until she reaches the Great Circle Realm. I, Lin Shen, can also help her break through the bottleneck of any cultivation method she is currently facing. Is this price enough to move her? The moment Lin Shen's words came out, it immediately drew mockery from the crowd. Nonsense. Who knows how much effort and time it would take to cultivate an orange-tier cultivation method to perfection. There is no lack of treasures in the world that can temporarily increase one's comprehension and comprehensionability, but at most, it can only help cultivate a cultivation method to the Great Circle Realm. To cultivate it to perfection, unless one has an extremely rare special constitution, the probability of that happening is almost non-existent. At this moment, the people who were eager to refute were the powerhouses who had participated in the auction earlier. They came from various grade, 8 forces, but none of them were in a hurry to refute. Instead, they focused their attention on Lin Shen's room. If someone else had said this, they would not have taken a second look. But if it was Lin Shen, the nature was completely different. This person's actions were completely beyond common sense. Mr. Lin Shen, Ms. Chen Shuiying is willing to give it a try. At this moment, Manager Ing brought the seller's reply, and the entire hall was in an uproar. Boom! The valiant and awe-inspiring drifting snow sword flashed. The beauty was dressed in a snow-white robe and carried a sword on her back. She had short hair and smooth skin. Her brows were awe-inspiring, giving her the valiant beauty of a heroic female general. Many sages' expressions changed slightly. Frozen Sky, Chen Shuiying, ranked 1,895 on the monster roll. A true super genius. She was at the star channeling realm, had expanded her acupoints by more than 1,000 times, and condensed her acupoints by 200 times. My friend Lin Shen, I don't like to procrastinate when doing things. Coincidentally, I've been comprehending a cultivation technique recently, and I've just started to master it. Why don't you let me see what you're capable of? Chen Shuiying's red lips curled into a valiant smile. Even women were tempted by her. She happened to have heard of the legend of Lin Shen. Most super geniuses were arrogant and unruly people. She wanted to see what Lin Shen was capable of. Moreover, she was about to comprehend a mid-orange grade cultivation technique, Deadly Cold Ice. This cultivation technique was extremely powerful. If she could successfully cultivate it, her ranking might even improve. But at the same time, the difficulty of cultivating it was extremely high. Even for super geniuses, it was not easy to comprehend a mid-orange grade cultivation technique. Straightforward, I like it. Lin Shan stepped into the air and arrived at the venue. Everyone's eyes were focused on the two of them. Even the cultivation technique exchange was paused. To a saint, time passed in the blink of an eye. This short period of time was nothing. Lin Chun flipped his palm, and a drop of pure Tiani holy water floated in the air. He said with a smirk, "Open your mouth and suck it." This person actually dared to say such a thing in broad daylight, in such a clear and bright world. No matter what, he should have chosen an environment where the two of them were alone with the lights off. Chun Shuang's gaze was as sharp as a sword. After confirming that the Tiani holy water was not poisonous, her red lips parted slightly. She actually sucked the Tiani holy water that Lin Chun took out. Lin Chun said with a teasing smile, "Hold in your mouth and don't swallow it. Then practice the cultivation technique that you want to cultivate in your spiritual sea repeatedly. Then, in your heart, you'll say Lin Chun is the most handsome 100 times." Everyone's mouths twitched. Bullsh *T. What kind of cultivation technique was this? They increasingly felt that their intelligence was being rubbed against the ground by this kid. Chun Shuang was skeptical. She closed her beautiful eyes and actually did as she was told. Host has activated the cultivation technique learning function. The target is learning a cultivation technique at the intermediate orange level. The top-grade cultivation technique essence required to complete the cultivation is 8,960 points. When the system was activated, boom! Chun Shuang's body glowed with a holy light, which surrounded her like a halo. This is... When she opened her beautiful eyes, they were filled with disbelief. All the important points of the cultivation technique, the circulation route, the flaws, the meridian routes, and the essence of it all flowed smoothly into Chun Shuang's mind. It was as if she only needed to refine this memory to be able to learn the breathtaking ice chill innately. Chun Shuang immediately retreated to the side, and her family's saint elders stood guard for her. She formed a cultivation hand seal, and a puff of blue smoke rose from the top of her head. The cold air seeped out of the blue smoke, causing the temperature of the entire place to plummet. All the saints were dumbfounded. They were all in disbelief. Chun Shuang's mind and spirit were one, and she was immersed in her own cultivation world. It was as if she had entered a state of selflessness. It was obvious that she had entered the best state for cultivation. This state could be said to be one that could only be found by chance. After a moment of silence, someone shouted in the silent hall, "Lin Chun is the most handsome." You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.